That a brief recap of just what was undertaken in the House yesterday afternoon. We had the Deputy Speaker, Honorable Moses Cheboy, directing members who had intended to discuss the contentious report compiled by the Joint Departmental Committees on Agriculture, Livestock and Trade, Industry and Cooperatives as regards the probe into the alleged importation of illegal and contaminated sugar in the country. And he did yesterday give direction that any member who has evidence to the effect that there are some members of the National Assembly who are compromised in order to reject that particular report should then present their evidence, their findings to the Powers and Privileges Committee for action. Yesterday, we also saw the chairperson of the Committee on Delegated Legislation present two reports. That is the Honorable Gladys Boss-Sholei, one on consideration of the traffic driving schools, driving instructors and driving licenses rules 2018, and the other on consideration of the energy, solar, water heating regulations 2012. And she did inform the House that this particular committee, having considered the two reports, the two issues, therefore recommended that those particular regulations be annulled in their entirety. And that is the action that we await members to take. Yet another motion was discussed that speaks to international relations, just the relationship between Kenya and other countries in the world. And this is through engagement in the ACP Parliamentary Assembly and intersessional meetings of the ACP-EU Joint Parliamentary Assembly. The leader of delegation was the Honorable Kato Ole Metito, a forum held in Brussels, Belgium, between the 20th and 22nd of March this year. And he did inform the House as to what discussions were made at that particular forum as regards to Kenya's interaction or relationship with her foreign counterparts. This morning, 4 motions lined up. One, members shall be putting the question to a motion that they discussed to conclusion last week, sponsored by Honorable Jessica Mbalu, Member of Parliament Kibwezi East. A motion that seeks the construction of post-trauma care facilities and to also ensure that the existing ones are rehabilitated and well equipped to offer temporary stay for survivors of sexual and gender-based violence across the country. And it is based on the fact that every person, as per the Constitution of Kenya, has a right to freedom and security and should therefore not be subjected to any form of violence from either public or private sources, and specifically recognizing the role played by women in societies as far as preservation of African values is concerned. Promotion of equality, peace, freedom, dignity, justice, solidarity, democracy, and a motion that just seeks to highlight the need to appreciate women and the rights that they have, and noting that we do have an international obligation as well to ensure that those particular rights are upheld. The Honorable Amishi Mboko, Member of Parliament Likoni, also has a motion that is pending before the House. There's just 46 minutes of debate remaining on that particular motion that was moved last week. And this one seeking the government, through the Ministry of Education, to establish a special needs unit in every primary and secondary school in the country, acknowledging the fact that the Constitution guarantees the right to free and compulsory basic education for every child, and also provides for persons with disabilities to benefit from that particular right, and noting that there is therefore need for a solid special needs education policy that will ensure that that is put in place. A live broadcast brought to you by the Parliamentary Broadcasting Unit in conjunction with the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation. My name is Vereso Mwanga. On behalf of the entire crew, I welcome you to follow the proceedings that will be presided over by the Honorable Christopher Omulele, the fourth chair of the Speaker's panel.
The just government of the people, we beseech you to behold with your abundant favor as your servants whom you have pleased to call to the performance of important trusts in this republic. Let your blessings descend upon us here assembled, and grant that we treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country and of those whose interests you have committed to our charge. Amen. I direct that the quorum bell be rung for 10 minutes.
The National Assembly experiencing a quorum hitch this Wednesday morning, and minimum 50 members are required in order for business to begin in the August House. And at 34 minutes past 9, the quorum bell is ringing as directed by the fourth chairperson of the Speaker's panel, Honorable Christopher Omulele. It will continue doing so as members of the House leadership do their bit, and that is calling upon their colleagues who are still outside the chambers to come in and participate in their legislative mandate. A sitting set aside for private members' bills and motions, and we have 4 of those lined up in addition to a bill sponsored by Kiminini Member of Parliament, Honorable Chris Wamalwa, the Constitution of Kenya Amendment Number 2 Bill, National Assembly Bill Number 5, whose import is to amend the Constitution of Kenya by changing the existing date for the general election for members of Parliament, the President, members of the County Assembly, county governors and deputy county governors from the second Tuesday of August in every 5th year to the third Monday in December in every 5th year. And it's just meant to introduce a new date that will be favorable to Kenya's circumstances, noting that the month of August is quite busy. The school, or rather schools are still in session, and that perhaps the month of December is more laid back, seeing that it is the Christmas season and will therefore provide ample time for a general election and any eventuality thereafter, especially in case of a runoff. This morning, we also expect the member for Ndaragwa constituency, Honorable Jeremiah Kioni, to present a petition on behalf of residents of Ndaragwa constituency that speaks to the recognition of Ndaragwa constituency as a hardship area, he'll be seeking gazettement to just make that formal. Also expected deliberations on a motion seeking the establishment of special needs units in every primary and secondary school, sponsored by Honorable Mishi Juma Mboko, Member of Parliament, Likoni constituency. And which notes that there is lack of a clear implementation framework of the special needs education policy. Notes that there is inadequate funding. And there is need to ensure that teachers are equipped with the right skills to impart knowledge to children who have special needs. It is their constitutional right. The Member of Parliament, Kilifi North, Honorable Owen Bayer, is also expected to move a motion seeking provision of financial support as disaster relief to coconut farmers affected by drought in Kilifi County. And he's arguing that farmers in Kilifi have not only suffered losses of income for their livelihood due to the drought, but are also faced with huge debts resulting from high interest levied for default on loans that were advanced to them for purposes of promoting coconut production. And he is seeking this financial support as a cushion to just protect farmers against further losses. Members continue to stream into the chambers, using the opportunity as the quorum bell rings to catch up. As they await the start of this morning's session. A live broadcast brought to you by the Parliamentary Unit, Broadcasting Unit in conjunction with the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation. You can also follow these proceedings live online. You can stream it live on YouTube. It is also available on Signet, Bunge TV channel, and of course, if you are nowhere near a screen, then you can tune into KBC Radio Taifa for a Kiswahili audio version of this. A quorum achieved, but we shall have confirmation from the Speaker.
Let's proceed.
Order number 1, administration of oath. Order number 2, communication from the chair. Order number 3, messages. Order number 4, petitions.
Honorable members, we have 2 petitions. The first one is by the Honorable Jeremiah Kioni, member for Ndaragwa.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sir, I want to table the following petition, public petition regarding gazettement of Ndaragwa constituency as a hardship area. I, the undersigned, on behalf of the residents of Ndaragwa constituency, draw the attention of the House to the following. That the then Cabinet Secretary for Public Service,
the Honorable
as
member,
circulated,
the Honorable
Junet.
Yeah, there's a very loud consultation. The leader for minority, what is out of order? I see you have.
Sukari
Yeah, let the honorable member for Ndaragwa prosecute his petition, please. The member for Ndaragwa, proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for that protection. I think there are many people suffering from high blood pressure now. Mr. Speaker, sir, I was moving tabling a public petition regarding the gazettement of Daragwa constituency as a hardship area. I, the undersigned, on behalf of the residents of Daragwa constituency, drew the attention of the House to the following. That the then Cabinet Secretary for Public Service, with the circular dated 21st October 2009, approved the rationalization, harmonization of hardship areas and payment of hardship allowances to teachers and other civil servants. That the circular outlined and approved criteria for establishing the designation of a hardship area, and that I took to gazette a new list of hardship areas and areas degazetted due to development that had taken place since they were last gazetted. That the government approved and effected an increment of Kenya shillings 10,000 for civil servants working in areas classified as extremely hardship areas, and Kenya shillings 5,000 for civil servants in areas classified as moderately developed areas. That Daragwa constituency, though classified as a hardship area per the said circular, has not and does not benefit from the government support accorded to such areas. The Daragwa constituency borders Laikipia County, and both have similar climatic conditions, and civil servants, especially teachers, prefer working in Laikipia County, where they benefit from the hardship allowance. That the residents of Daragwa constituency feel discriminated and disadvantaged because of this omission by the government, for they are denied the services of trained personnel posted to the area, among other attendant government support. Mr. Speaker, that the then Minister for Public Service, Honorable Dalmas Otieno, in response to a question number 388, filed by Honorable John Buddy, now in the House leadership, tabled a ministerial statement in Parliament on the 12th of October 2010, which included a government circular dated 21st October 2009, assuring Parliament that the affected areas, which included Daragwa constituency, will benefit from the government support accorded to such hardship areas. That this has occasioned non-provision of their support and support programs, such as school feeding programs, leading to low enrollments, especially in primary schools, as parents prefer to take their children to the areas bordering Daragwa, that is in Laikipia constituency, which benefit from the school feeding program. That efforts to resolve the matter with the relevant ministry have been futile, and that the issues in respect of which this petition is made are not pending before any court of law, constitution, or statutory body. Therefore, your humble petitioners, Mr. Speaker, plea that the National Assembly, through the Departmental Committee on Administration and National Security, causes the Cabinet Secretary for the Ministry of Public Service, Youth and Gender Affairs to accord and treat Daragwa constituency as a hardship area and implement the said government circular of 12th October 2009 and makes any other order or direction that it deems fit in the circumstances of this petition. And your petitioners will ever play. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Very well. We have two petitions, basically concerning matter of security. So I'll propose that we have both of them prosecuted, then I will allow comments from members on both of them. So you can decide which one you want to comment on. I'll therefore call upon the Honorable Sarah Korere, member for Laikipia North, to prosecute her petition.
Thank you, Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I present this petition regarding invasion of group ranches, grazing areas, sites, and insecurity in Laikipia North constituency. I, the undersigned, on behalf of the residents of Laikipia North constituency, draw the attention of the House to the following. That for many years now, residents of Laikipia North constituency have for a long time been afflicted by cases of insecurity, invasion of grazing sites and group ranches, destruction of key community infrastructure set for investments, leading to eviction and displacement, loss of lives and property. That much has been done by leaders and security personnel to address matters of peace, but to date, some areas continue to suffer as a result of invasions of their land by armed herders from neighboring counties. The invaders have evicted owners in a number of group ranches, among them Lekuruki and Irngwesi group ranches. That in the last 3 years, 6 people have been shot dead and more than 10 injured, including police officers, more than 1,500 goats and sheep stolen, and 1,000 cows, including 700 cows from one individual, which was stolen in February 2008 in Mgogodo East Ward. On the Sosian Ward, more than 10 people have been killed, including 6 police officers, about 800 goats and sheep, and 400 cows were stolen. That community and private lodges and conservancies have been invaded and destroyed. They include Kijape Conservancy, which run and manage Olentile Trust, Lekuruki that runs and manages Tasia Lodges, and lodges and camps within Irngwesi Conservancy, among others. That small-scale farmers on the western side of Laikipia North have been grossly affected by invaders, mainly from neighboring counties who graze forcefully and destroy their crops on the Sosian Ward. That in December 2016, Mr. Washira Gilisho was shot dead by bandits who stole a total of 87 cows that belonged to the family of the deceased. That in 2017, armed bandits invaded various villages in Mgogodo East Ward of Laikipia North constituency, shot dead the following: Saitoti Kareyo Moile Lolotu Leitiko, James Leitiko, among others, and managed to get away with an unspecified number of livestock. That in March 2018, Mr. John Kamau was shot dead by bandits who stole 300 goats and sheep from the deceased family. That in April 2018, Mr. Perenika Lenaipe and Mr. Ramaita Lenaipe sustained serious gunshots injuries from bandits who stole a total of 250 goats and 30 cows from the family. That as a result of the invasions and insecurity, many schools have been forced to close, operated intermittently, and also relocation of students to safer zones, contributing to low school attendance, coupled with dismal performance in the national examination among the school affected. That the menace has negatively impacted on the critical economic activities in the area, which includes decline or low bookings by tourists, both domestic and foreign, in hotels, lodges, and campsites. Closure of livestock markets and valuable properties vandalized or looted every time an attack is carried out by the invaders. That these raids have continued to destabilize communities, undermine their livelihoods, and contributed to increased poverty and underdevelopment in the area. That this situation has led to loss of many lives, especially breadwinners. Hence, children are left behind as orphans under the care of well-wishers or old parents who do not have the capacity to take care of them. That efforts to resolve the matter with the relevant government and other institutions have borne no fruits. That the issue in respect of which this petition is made are not pending before any court of law, constitutional or statutory body. Therefore, your humble petitioners pray that the National Assembly, through the Departmental Committee on Administration and National Security, cause the deployment of special security personnel on the eastern side of Laikipia North at Sieku, where they border Isiolo and Samburu counties. Cause the security organs in Laikipia North to undertake and establish patrol camps at survey area on the western side and increase the number of national police reservists among the local people. Recommend the allocation of funds for construction of access roads in Loiragai, Lokusero, Nadungoro, Sieku, and Doldol Sieku to facilitate ease movement of security personnel while in patrols. Recommends compensation of the affected families with regard to loss of lives, property destroyed, among other associated problems. recommend the setting up of a police station and camp in Tiamamut in Mgogodo West Ward, Sieku in Mgogodo East, and Survey in Sosian Ward. Cause the National Police Service to deploy adequate and fully equipped security personnel to recover stolen livestock and restore calm, and make any other order or direction that it deems fit in the circumstances of the case. And your petitioners will ever pray.
Very well. We shall now have a few comments on this. We'll start with the leader of minority, the Honorable Mbadi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to contribute to the first petition, which has been presented by the Honorable Jeremiah Kioni on behalf of the people of his constituency. But, Mr. Speaker, I want to also concur with the member and just urge the committee to expedite and this time resolve this matter. It is a very interesting matter. This is an issue that I raised in 2009. And I raised it because looking at the way this allowance of or classification of areas as hardship was done looked to me faulty from the word go. I say that because, Mr. Speaker, today, and with all due respect to the area I want to mention, which is in my county, Rusinga Island, Mr. Speaker, you can easily access it now using the Mbita Causeway, and the tarmac is all the way from Homa Bay to Rusinga. But because it is an island, it is a hardship area. But now when you come to the Soba South side, and Gwasi, more particularly, and the Kaksingri areas, you can not even access, because the roads are pathetic. As a matter of fact, this is the first time that Soba South is seeing tarmac road for the first time. We have just seen 7 kilometers, and again with the difficulties. Accessing Soba South is a nightmare. Yet, in Rusinga Island, they get hardship allowance. You come to Gwasi, there is no hardship. You go to Kibwoge Island, which is very difficult to access, has no facilities. In fact, I just set up the first health facility, which is not even completed because the health was devolved before the facility was completed. Mr. Speaker, what I'm saying in a nutshell is that we have had issues with classification of areas as hardship. Now, the ministry did a good thing in 2009 and did a reclassification. However, Mr. Speaker, and this is what I want the committee to look at, when this matter was raised, we were told that Kenya National Union of Teachers disputed the reclassification, and for obvious reasons I could understand. Because you see, there are some members there are some areas which were removed from hardship and others added to hardship. So the KNUT did not have a problem with those areas which were added, but had a problem with areas which were removed, because some of your members were benefiting and they lost. Now, what the government needs to do as they sort out the areas that were removed, they should start paying areas that were added as hardship, because the government, in its own wisdom, classified those areas as added. Mr. Speaker, I just want to, as I sit down, to request the committee, as they look at that specific issue of Daragwa, they need to look at the whole gazette, gazette notice by government, the areas that were all classified as hardship, including my constituency, need to start benefiting from hardship allowance immediately. Mr. Speaker, I thank you.
I think the Honorable Mbadi, those are very valid contributions. I just want to direct that we shall be referring these petitions to the Departmental Committee on Administration and National Security. And I don't know whether the chair is in the House. It will be important for them to take note of the comments that members are making, because we need to have a criteria on which these classifications are done, so that everybody knows it's a known criteria, that these are the parameters on which areas will be defined as hardship areas and others will be degazetted as such hardship areas. Very well, we shall proceed with the Honorable Mwadime and through the member from Watate. Members, if you wish to contribute to these petitions, to comment on this, I would advise that you do the intervention slot so that we know those who want to comment on this. The Honorable Mwadime.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Speaker. On the onset, I'm just contributing on the first petition by Honorable Jeremiah Kioni. I stand to support, because on the Gazette notice on hardship area, it needs to be done overall countrywide. In my county, especially Mwatate sub-county, it was declared as a hardship area, but it's very interesting. You find that within the same area, there is a secondary school and a primary school. You find that primary school, they're not getting hardship, and secondary school, they're getting hardship. There is one word, I have 5 words. There is one word called the wrong word. And I think it's an area where it's even harder than these other words. But unfortunately, they are not getting hardship. Even posting teachers to that word, it is very difficult because most of them, they want to leave that area to go to where others are getting hardship. In some other areas, even public servants, you find that some are getting hardship, others are not getting hardship. In 2014, I raised the same petition, but unfortunately, up to date, there is nothing has happened. I went even to the Minister of Education, talking to the relevant officers, but I'm shocked, even up to date, there's nothing has happened. So, Honorable Speaker, I'm praying that also that the relevant departments, they should look into this Gazette notice so that they'll start implementing immediately areas which were gazetted and they are not getting this hardship allowance. Because especially on the area of teachers and of ward performance, in fact, in that ward, it is very poor for me in Mwatate sub-county, comparable to the other 4 where they're getting hardship. And in the area, water is a problem, roads is a problem. You know very well, we have been having problems of wild animals. That area is really affected. Food program in that area, they don't get. So it's, in all, it's actually, they require to get this money. So I'm requesting whoever is going to check this petition on hardship to look at it on its entirety so that this problem is solved once and for all. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Very well. The Honorable Kibiwot Meli, member for Tindred.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to contribute and support this motion, especially the one on hardship. Mr. Speaker, this is an issue that has been brought to this House. In the last Parliament, we even discussed it in our Committee of Education and even the National Security. But, Mr. Speaker, this is an issue where most government departments do not want to commit themselves. In the sense that in my constituency, Mr. Speaker, we have one location known as Chemase, which is bordering Muhoroni constituency in Kibigori, all the way through to Miwani up to Karunga. On the lower side of the road, which is Kisumu County, teachers having hardship allowance and the civil servants. On the upper side of the road, which is Tinderet, they aren't earning, within the same region. And to access Chemase, to access up to Chemurso, you need to go through. If you are in Alda, you access through Kisumu, you come to Kisumu West, Kibos, and then you reach the school. It is very difficult. There are certain areas which are a bit accessible, yet they have this hardship allowance. This issue was brought in the last Parliament. I do remember the former member for Sony, Honorable Jared Pio. A number of us, we listed almost 139 constituencies, 139 areas. We took it to the national treasure, the Ministry of Interior and National Coordination. Mr. Speaker, when we read there, the concerned officers could not own up and tell us what is the policy behind it. I want to say this, that this is something that we need to correct it once and for all. because there are certain regions in this country that are having hardship allowance, yet they do not deserve. Yet some other regions which are actually having a lot of difficulty, they don't get it. In fact, cases have arisen where just a tarmac road, areas which were formerly listed as hardship, have improved infrastructure, yet they are still earning hardship. Areas with very difficult infrastructure, like the ones which we are mentioning now, are not earning it. So I think this is an area where we need to address this in this parliament once and for all. I rise and support that. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The honorable member Meli, I think you are one of the people who can provide guidance on this, being the chair of that very important docket education, and which is one of the services that members really are interested in making sure that in the areas that they consider to be hardship areas, those services are availed. So I think it will be important for you to liaise or to find time to go to this committee that we are committing this petition to, so that those sentiments that you have made may be recorded, and the pursuit for a policy and a criteria to be defined on how to identify these areas can be done once and for all, so that everybody can know that these are the parameters as I had earlier directed. Very well, we shall have the Honorable Mboko Milemba.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I rise on the onset to support that particular petition and ask the committee that shall be dealing with it to realize that this is a matter which has been tried from several levels. At one time, the unions tried to work on it. We did petition the Teacher Service Commission and other government agencies, but all those agencies told us that the real organ that can actually pursue the issue of the boundaries of hardship allowance areas in this country and to lead to the gazettement of these areas was Parliament. So this matter, Honorable Speaker, I would wish to say it really rests in Parliament. And the committee that will be dealing with it, I want to ask them kindly to deal with this matter once and for all, because that authority is vested here in Parliament. Honorable Speaker, the challenge is that the gazettement of hardship areas was done long time ago. And those boundaries are the ones that are still being used to date. But then that geographical arrangement of those boundaries has since changed. So there are very many areas, and I will not even just specifically talk about my constituency, but I will borrow from those honorable members who have looked at it as a national issue that needs to be addressed nationally by that particular committee. So there are areas where they are gazetted as hardship areas, but certain schools and certain employees of government in those particular pockets don't get the hardship allowance. Yet there are also areas which were gazetted as hardship, but they are no longer hardship if you look at it. So you have to go, because it was based on climatic changes, geographical factors, and other issues. So it has to look at a total review of everything. And it has made the balance of especially teachers in this country to be difficult, because there are those teachers who may want just to go in hardship areas to get hardship allowance. And when you remove them out of there, they don't like it. But in some instances, you may find that even separating them is simply a road, like one of the honorable speakers has said. And or separating them would just be 1 kilometer. So it is a matter that needs total overhaul, so that even organizations like the Teacher Service Commission can be able to redistribute the teachers in this country without being affected by the issue of these hardship areas. So without much ado, now that is going to the committee, I would want to add my voice that this is a national issue and it is vested in Parliament and let that committee do the best to resolve it once and for all. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable members, I believe that we are all speaking the same language, that we need to have this done. I will therefore just give one more member to comment on this, and then we bring it to a close so that we can make progress. The Honorable Hululo Oda, member for Isiolo North.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I would like to comment on the second petition, which apparently I'm the first member to contribute to the same. But that doesn't mean that we are not supporting the first one. We agree with the Honorable Member for Ndaragwa. There is need for a clear policy on definition of what a hardship area is. Aridity probably is one of the considerations, but there are also other parts of this country which are considered to be high potential areas, which are hard to reach, without roads, very cold, and so on and so forth. And they also, public servants who work there also need to be considered for the hardship allowance. Mr. Speaker, my constituency borders Laikipia North, the constituency of Honorable Sarah Korere. The invasion of the ranches is something that we are aware of. But the invasion, Mr. Speaker, is actually a symptom of a bigger problem. We know that Laikipia is one county where 50% of the land is owned by large-scale ranchers. And what we know is that during the time of drought, from the neighboring counties, pastoralists have tendency of migrating. And because traditionally we used to have a way of, communities negotiating with each other across their traditional territories for access to pasture and water, it's not easy for pastoralists to use the same mechanisms when they are dealing with these big ranchers. But all the same, it is something which requires attention of the Committee on National Security. We, as new crop of leaders from these counties which are neighboring Laikipia, we have resolved that we need to get rid of cattle rustling, and therefore deployment of national police reservists in adequate numbers, not only in Laikipia North, but also in the neighboring constituencies like mine. For example, I have Oldonyiro Ward, which is neighboring her. We are also suffering from the same. And therefore, as the committee considers the prayers which were read out by Honorable Sarah through her petition, I would like to urge the committee to look at it in a comprehensive way. We have so many conflict hotspots, especially between, on the borders of Isiolo, Samburu, and Marsabit, Laikipia, Samburu, and Isiolo, so that as the Ministry of Interior considers to deploy rapid deployment units of our security forces, we can have them deployed in all these hotspots. And then as the NPR numbers are boosted also, we would like those who are holding illegal guns to be forced to return them to government, or for them to hand them, for them actually to voluntarily register it with the National Police Service, and so on and so forth. Thank you very much.
Yes. The Honorable Ntoimaga, member for Samburu North.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. Honorable Speaker, I want to speak on the second petition, and I want to concur with the Honorable Member for Laikipia North for a concern on the killings. Actually, we condemn these killings of innocent people, and even destruction of property, private property, and as well as also stealing of livestock from people who are not armed and who are innocent. Mr. Speaker, we neighbor Laikipia from the north, that is Samburu, and I want to say that just like my colleague has said, drought is what drives people to go to look for livestock, look for pasture and water, and they come there not because of they want to come there, but because of that need. And I think the best thing we can do is to ensure that now that the member is really concerned about the existence of peace among the people, I think as members of parliament from that region, we need to support her to ensure that anybody who comes there must live in peace with the local people, the people who are there. I don't support the issue of excess use of policemen, because in the last parliament or last year, the police used excessive force, and in fact they were even military were used, and they killed a lot of livestock. To me, this cannot solve the problem, because it makes people to be radicalized. It makes the youth to get hungry and not to live these particular incidences. So I think the best thing is to use peace measures, peace caravans among ourselves and our people, and of course to tell people who do not come from there to go back to their areas, because at the moment now there is a lot of grass in every county, so they don't need to be there all the time. But let us avoid use of excessive force, because it will not help us. Then of course anybody who has land there, land should be respected. Even if you have migrated from Isiolo or from Samburu and you own land in Laikipia, of course you should be also respected like any other country, because the constitution says that you can live anywhere in this country so long as you have a property. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Manje, the member for Kajiado North.
Thank you, Speaker. I wanted to comment to the first one and say why there has been a classification for hardship and moderate hardship area is to make sure that we have development in the whole country, and also those areas attract teachers. But if it is awarded and then the benefits do not go to the ground, like in Daragwa, then it means that area will not be developed. As you know, this country cannot develop uniformly if we don't develop all the areas. For example, there are those hardship areas. If you check places like Northeastern, which is really hard, where there is no water in some areas, and also other areas where there is bandit-prone areas, and also areas without proper housing. We need to give initiative for people to go, or for teachers to go to that area. And also, I think we should devise a different method now of checking this area, because now we moved from the districts to counties. We should change our approach to check and also classify the hardship area per county. You go to a county, then from the county you get the sub-counties that are really hardship, then we map it again so that we can develop the whole country. Otherwise, if we develop part of the countries, at the end of the day, we are likely to lose part of the country, and it will take us time to develop the country as a unit. I support that petition.
The Honorable Kelo Odoyo, the member for Nyando.
Mr. Speaker, this motion could not have come at a better time. It is true that many people are segregated along the lines of delineation of hardship boundaries. And this is something that we really need to, as a parliament, holistically address. I know individual members of parliament have made individual efforts through relevant government ministries to have this matter addressed. All these efforts have met a nought, and that is why this becoming part of deliberations of this House, taken to the relevant committee for further debate and scrutiny, and hence an answer can be found once and for all. Mr. Speaker, it is very interesting that Nyando constituency sits right in the middle of two constituencies, Muhoroni and Nyakach. These two constituencies are benefiting from hardship allowances. Nyando has been excluded out of this scheme. And you wonder what rationale was employed for these two constituencies to benefit and leave Nyando out of it. So this is something that every time I'm in my constituency, civil servants confront me with this issue. Of course, we are still new in this House, barely a year in office, but it is a reflection of the failure of the leadership, particularly at the constituency level, for a constituency not to benefit. So I understand where my brother, Honorable Kioni, is coming from. These are fundamental questions that commonly arise, particularly when civil servants are here, that some of them are benefiting and some of them are not. And a member has talked about how funnily, the boundaries are also. In my constituency, it is only a road that separates Nyando and Muhoroni. So I have two schools on either side of the road, one Muhoroni and the other Nyando constituency, and it takes less than a minute to cross to the other school. They know that teachers from the other school are getting hardship allowances, and those from my constituency are not. So it also contributes to migration of public servants. So you have teachers who perhaps get an opportunity to teach in Nyando constituency, but are not willing to come. So they fight their way from Nairobi, TSC offices, ministry offices, to have them transferred. As we speak today, Mr. Speaker, since January, I have lost 35 teachers to my neighboring constituencies. And the attraction is simply the hardship allowance. Nothing while I hear that it is 10,000 shillings, that definitely means a lot. And looking at the story that has been running this week, what 10,000 shillings can do, Mr. Speaker. So if it can create wonders in this house, you can only imagine what 10,000 shillings can do to a teacher in the village down there. So I support this motion. Let us go back, the relevant committee, and try to address this issue once and for all. If, for one reason or another, it cannot incorporate all the other constituencies, then let's look at a balance. Let us have a universal increment of salaries to civil servants all across the country, so that all of them can benefit in a way or another. But this is creating disparity.
The Honorable Okello, I would like you to withdraw the comment you made about what 10,000 can do to this House, with due respect to the House.
Well, Mr. Speaker, I was only acting on what I read and what I heard.
What you're acting, but I would like you to withdraw, because I wouldn't like that to be on the record of this.
All right. I unreservedly withdraw.
Very well. Proceed.
Yes. So I was saying we then need to look at a middle ground where everybody benefits universally and across board, so that we do not have a resurgence and recurrence of this particular concern. Finally, Mr. Speaker, there is an unwritten rule operating within this House that once a member from a region has spoken, then we seldom get opportunity to speak because of that kind of representation. But I want us to relook into this unwritten rule, particularly touching on the leadership of the House. For instance, we have the minority leader, who by default comes from Nyanza, by default. And once he has spoken, it is assumed that Nyanza has spoken. A minority leader represents the entire Republic of Kenya, and particularly talking about a powerful political movement such as NASA. He represents the Republic of Kenya, Mr. Speaker. So we need to also relook into this unwritten rule and have it put in order. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Okello, you have had your bite at the pie, and you now want to extend the handshake beyond the elbow. I think those are comments that will be properly directed to the House Committee on Rules and Procedure. But you know, when we sit here, we have so many members, and all of us cannot speak at the same time. So sometimes it's just reasonable to try to balance. If one member has spoken from a region, then it's also fair to allow other members also to have a go at it. I will allow 2 more members on this particular one, so that we close it and make progress. The member for Ijara, the Honorable Noor, and then from this side we shall have the Honorable Bunyasi, and then we shall close it.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this chance. I feel these petitions today that was presented are very crucial and very important. I want to support the petition, the second petition by Laikipia North Member of Parliament, and I want to condemn, Mr. Speaker, the criminals who have taken security into their hands and who have killed innocent Kenyans, looted their properties, and they have harassed this country. Mr. Speaker, security has been a very huge problem to this country, and it is like a cancer, Mr. Speaker. And if the National Police Security Services, Mr. Speaker, put their heads together and do proper planning, mapping, and strategy that can finish out the security problem in this country, I think it is easy. And Mr. Speaker, we need the Police Service Commission to be very serious, to map up this country and to find a solution for security issue in this country. Mr. Speaker, we are in a country that has structures, that have governance structures, that have a system, and we cannot allow individuals to take the law into their hands, to destroy people's property, to loot, to harass, to rape women. Mr. Speaker, we will not allow that in this country. Mr. Speaker, I come from a constituency equally that has a problem, security problem. Bodai, Huluko, Sangailu is areas that you cannot get an access road when there is a problem. So in supporting the petitioner, I'm asking if we can have access road to all the security areas so that it will be easy movement for the few police personnel that we have in this country, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, in putting up serious police stations strategically in places that we feel has had problems for many years. Over 30 years, there are places that have security problems. We hear in, day out, we hear of problems, but our government have not put an initiative to put police stations in those areas. So we are asking again the National Police Service to map out again and find out these areas that have security problems and security challenges so that strategically they can put police stations. If I say on my constituency, in the farthest end I have a Balatiro. I do not have, it is an island where people can move in and out. I do not have any police station. Gababa and Jalish, all these are border areas. I border Somalia, that is a country that has not had system for many years, Mr. Speaker. But my people, I want to thank the people of Ijara. They have been policing themselves. They have been identifying people whom they see are not people from either their constituency, and they have been calling upon the security personnel so that they could protect their areas. Mr. Speaker, those are people that you could even award them as the police services. Mr. Speaker, the Kenya Police Services again have recruited Kenya Police reserves in our constituency, particularly in my constituency. They have recruited them, they have not trained them, they have not given them anything, and now the people, the bandits know these are people who have been recruited. And day in, day out, they're being harassed. Mr. Speaker, if our people have been identified, recruited, then we need them to be recruited, trained, and given proper and fully equipped so that they can protect our people. You don't just recruit people and leave them hanging and they become the target for insecurity, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, finally, there are schools that have been closed all over this country because of insecurity. We are denying our children their basic rights of going to schools and acquiring education, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we have places where women cannot go out to fetch water or to go and collect firewood for their basic utilities in their houses. Mr. Speaker, we are requesting the Kenya Police Services to seriously think about the insecurity in this country. I'm sure we can finish insecurity in this country if we are serious, and I'm asking the Kenya government, kindly resource the Kenya National Police Services. If we give them proper resources, and those resources can go into proper and meaningful services that they can give to the Kenyans. The Kenyan government have taken an oath that they will protect this country and their people and their properties. But unfortunately, there are places the people have not been protected, their properties and the security have been wanting, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, with those few remarks, I say thank you so much again.
The Honorable Bunyasi. But just before you get on, the Honorable Bunyasi, allow me to recognize the presence of students from Tungururu Primary School, from Gatanga constituency, Muranga County, who are in the public gallery, and also students from Gatura Primary School, also from Gatanga constituency, Muranga County. They are welcome to observe the proceedings of this August House. The Honorable Bunyasi, proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to comment on the motion by Honorable Jeremiah Kioni. First, I start by saying that I strongly support his sentiments. He has expressed them very, very eloquently, and as well as other speakers who have spoken along the same vein. But I have a concern, and my concern is that the way hardship areas have been defined has been largely influenced by geography. And it's a relic that we have inherited from before independence. But I think that what really would help us now, while we continue with supporting those hardship areas along the lines that are currently in force, because that's the law, and that should be done effectively, meaning all areas that are eligible should be covered, and efficiently, meaning that in reaching out, you reach out. Mr. Speaker, you'll have to protect me from the consultations next here.
The Honorable Member for Game, kindly allow the Honorable Bunyasi to be heard also.
Thank you, thank you. They are very generous, thank you. So, Mr. Speaker, whereas we should use the current system as effectively and as efficiently as possible, I think the paradigm needs to change. I think that what we should be worrying about are people, individuals, and issues of poverty in terms of lack of access to services, poverty in terms of lack of access, say, to food and so on. The current formula is too strongly weighted around salaried workers and how they should be incentivized, which I think is true. There's no difficulty about that. But I think that should be a transient arrangement. And that in, I think, a more functional and a more contemporary approach, we should really be looking at instances of poverty at the household level. So that in areas where if you take a geographic cut, in areas where hardship allowances are expected, you'd expect to see an increased allocation of resources that support households below the poverty line, because they too are facing the hardships in terms of accessing those services in the same areas as the salaried workers do. That whoever is posted there is automatically adjusted in terms of increased income to be able to bring them to a level equivalent to what their peers and colleagues may be making elsewhere. Where you are separated by a road, you have then got problems of moral hazard being so close just by a road. But you can see clearly how that can be absurd, that you cross the road and you're eligible for an allowance, and if you are back there, you do not get one. So I really would like to see I myself would like to see a measure that targets households, that targets poverty. In my own county, Busia, and in my own constituency, Nambale, we have areas within the constituency where people have deeper levels of poverty, and children cannot get a meal in the morning before they go to school. And in the primary school, they will run home and run back because they didn't get a meal. They need supplementation. And when you get to high school, where 10,000 shillings is required per year, it's a major hurdle. People are running to the CDF offices saying, can we get a bursary to help us pay for the lunch program in school of 10,000 shillings a year? That means that we really should be targeting how to support, how to underpin feeding programs, income supplementation programs for the elderly in these households in a way that we empower them to be able to access these services. If we do that, Mr. Speaker, sir, we'll do several things. One, we'll inject funds in the economy where it's most needed, and that will have a major multiplier effect. Two, we will have households that minimize the harshest parts of living with low income or no income at all, and we'll have young people growing up that are healthier, that do not have the problem as we go down the road. And lastly, Mr. Speaker, sir, as we do that, I think we recognize that it's possible that in the areas that are most hard hit in terms of who would be high up on the list for eligibility, that you may get people there who are quite wealthy and quite well-to-do when you get down to individual households or individuals. But that in areas which might appear, like one other speaker has said, that people are generally well off, and so on, you do get across households that are completely pressed. I think we should get down to people, to our citizens, and see how best to supplement their capacity to live a decent life in this republic. And in so doing, we will have also included the workers. Certainly, the workers can get some compensation, but it should be transient. We can't have that compensation across the board. Then the issue of relativity, again, will disappear. The reason we want this compensation, that relatively speaking, one area is worse over than another. If we equalize it everywhere, then you eliminate relativity, and then you get back to the same old demands. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Proven. Those two petitions stand committed to the Committee on Administration and National Security. All members who, I can see there's still a lot of interest in them. Those members who have a desire to speak to them may want to make comments at the sittings of that committee when it's deliberating on it. I'll direct that we move on to the next order.
Order number 5, papers. Order number 6, notices of motion. Order number 7, statements. Order number 8, motion, construction of post-trauma care facilities for survivors of sexual and gender-based violence.
The Honorable Wangari.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, given the importance of this motion, I rise according to Standing Order 53.3 and request that you defer putting of the question to an appointed time by yourself, Mr. Speaker.
Proven. It's acceptable. Under Order 53, Order 53.3, I direct that the question to this motion be deferred to the next time when it shall be listed. I will direct that we move on to the next order.
Order number 9, establishment of special needs units in every primary and secondary school.
This motion had a balance of 46 minutes. I see on top of my list the Honorable, yes, the Honorable Sophia Nur had 3 minutes remaining. She was on her feet when we deferred it. She'll have her 3 minutes, then we shall proceed from there.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I want to contribute to this motion again. And as you know, persons with disability are children who are born, and they're our relatives, they're our sons, they're our daughters, and it is very important that we care for them as a nation. And we know the situation and the status that they're living in. The truth of the matter is the schools that we have currently that we call special education schools have no adequate resources. They have no enough teachers who are trained to the areas of disabilities, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we know that the schools that are there are public schools, and there are few of them. As I said the other day when I was contributing on this, that I come from Garissa County, and Garissa County has one special school. And that one special school, Mr. Speaker, that Garissa County has is in a very pathetic situation, Mr. Speaker. The condition under which our children with disability are living in, Mr. Speaker, is wanting in this country. Mr. Speaker, if you go to that particular school, there are no beds, there are no beddings, the children do not have wheelchairs, the classrooms are in a very pathetic situation. They have only few teachers who have been trained, I think 2 teachers, the whole county, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, And I support fully this motion where we're asking that every constituency, at least, let's have a special school. Because that school in Garissa that I'm talking about, all the constituency children are brought there, and some of the children are not even brought to that school. So they miss the opportunity of acquiring education, Mr. Speaker. And if you look clearly in our Constitution, Article 53B and Article 54, it gives guarantee, Mr. Speaker, for every child, whether a normal or a child with disability, it guarantees free education, Mr. Speaker. It gives free education, free and compulsory education, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it goes ahead and talks about the provision by the government, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, my time is running out, but I want to say, Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, that we have a responsibility as a nation, and this house being budget-making house, Mr. Speaker, we have a responsibility to look into giving resources to Ministry of Education so that the Ministry of Education can deliberately now go out and do a mapping and give proper education to our children with disability, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, our children with disability are resource. You have seen a young man using his foot in cultivating, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we cannot waste almost 20% of our human resource in this country by leaving them and neglecting them. There have been rituals around persons with disability, but it is our responsibility to break that ritual so that we can give space, opportunity to the people, to the children with disability, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, and with those few remarks, I want to say that it is important that we support this motion, and the committee, that the relevant committee again must be on education, must critically look at the way they do when they are giving resources to the Ministry of Education when during the budget. They should look how much is given to the persons with disability in this country in their special.
Members, you must remember that on this one, the time for contribution really is 5 minutes. The Honorable Pokose, member for Entebbe.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to support this motion on establishment of special needs units in every primary and secondary school. Mr. Speaker, this motion, what happens in our country is that when you move around, you find that maybe in a county, you have one special school for disabilities or even one within a region. And I think this disadvantages a lot of children with special needs. Mr. Speaker, it is not the wish of these children to be born the way they are. Some of the conditions they find themselves are maybe out of trauma during birth, like cerebral palsy and other things. Others are genetic, autism and all those, dyslexia and other conditions. Others could also be congenital deformities, such as you're talking of children who are having Down syndrome. Mr. Speaker, these are God's creations. And more often you'll find that in other areas, people with this kind of children, they tend to hide them. They tend to keep them away from other people. And I think this disadvantages their development. This motion urges that in every primary school and secondary school, we have a unit that is dedicated to these children. What it means, Mr. Speaker, is that once these children are in that class, they are able to be taken care of, and during even interaction, they are able to interact with other children who are normal, and therefore it promotes their development. It promotes their growth. It promotes their social upbringing. Mr. Speaker, it tends to, instead of having them isolated in a school somewhere where they are being taught, it is bringing them to the society. How do we integrate them? as part and parcel of the society. I think that is the gist of this motion, Mr. Speaker. And I think it's a good motion. It's something that should be supported. And I think it is our education system, should be our education system priority. The cabinet secretary in charge, the education policy makers who are within the Ministry of Education, I think they need to think radically. We need to have a shift towards this line where you have a special unit in every primary school that caters for children with disability. Mr. Speaker, even our Constitution, it recognizes children with disability. Even when it comes to whether job opportunities, whether business opportunities, people with disabilities have a role to play within the society. And therefore, we need to go further and look at how do we integrate these people within the education system. Let's provide them with an opportunity so that they can also be able to grow like any other normal human being, as close as possible. So with those few remarks, Mr. Speaker, I want to support this motion.
Very well. The Honorable Mwanyanje Mbeyu, member for Kilifi.
Sorry, Mr. Speaker, I'd logged in for the next motion, the coconut motion. Thank you.
You had wanted to contribute to the petitions?
Yes.
Very well.
Thank you.
Very well. We shall have the Honorable Koros Kapsengeret, member for Sigowet.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I stand to support this motion on establishment of special needs units in primary schools and secondary schools, Mr. Speaker. I come from a constituency, Mr. Speaker, which has got no special school, either in primary or secondary school, Mr. Speaker. And I am seeing this motion is so timely, Mr. Speaker. Most parents in our constituencies are suffering when they have kids with these special needs. And it's high time, as this August House, Mr. Speaker, we look for a way on how we can support Ministry of Education in establishing these special needs units in schools, Mr. Speaker. I think this is a good motion, Mr. Speaker, which we should all give support, and I stand to support, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Very well. The Honorable Babu, member for Embakasi East.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I stand to support this motion on establishment of special needs units in every primary and secondary education. Mr. Speaker, education is a fundamental human right enshrined in the Kenyan Constitution. Therefore, every Kenyan citizen has a right to access education without discrimination. Mr. Speaker, further to that, we've seen leaders in this nation, starting from Honorable Tim Wanyonyi. Disability is not inability, Mr. Speaker. We've seen Honorable Tim Wanyonyi being a member of parliament, irrespective of the disability nature that he's got. Mr. Speaker, in the United States of America, we had presidents led by Franklin Roosevelt, who was a president, who was the 32nd president in the United States of America. Mr. Speaker, he did not stop him from being the president, and it did not stop him from leading his country out of the Great Depression and winning victory in World War II. John F. Kennedy was also a leader of the free world and was loved because of that. Mr. Speaker, I therefore support this motion, and special needs, special infrastructures should be set in these schools, starting with the brailles, Mr. Speaker. Classes, number of teachers should be added, hearing devices, and any other infrastructure that they need. Mr. Speaker, we need to respect such persons with disabilities because we need to support them, Mr. Speaker, because we are all Kenyans and we need to be treated equally. Thank you.
The Honorable Ogutu Abel, member for Bomachoge Borabu. kindly use the next one. Give him the next mic. It looks like the one that you have is not very audible.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like to contribute to this motion that touches on a very important group in our society, people with disabilities. I want to say that the issue of supporting schools to set up units for disabilities should be a priority. Why? Because for a number of years, Kenya has been clamoring as one of the countries that supports people with disabilities. The location of the various schools has been far away from most areas. If I can take a case of Kisii County, we do not have really a recognizable school with disabilities, not in primary schools, not in secondary schools. So most of our kids are taken to Kucha, that is for the primary level, Kucha Special School. And for secondary level, they have to travel as far as Thika and the other areas where these facilities are found. Mr. Speaker, it's not that we do not have a framework which supports the establishment of these units. I think what is lacking is the willingness by the ministry to implement these units in every school, because I'm very sure that every community in Kenya has pupils who have disabilities. And therefore, as we set up a primary school, we should think of setting up a unity that caters for this kind of pupils. But at the same time as these pupils move from primary to secondary schools, we should also have secondary schools at the constituency level that caters for the interests of these students. Mr. Speaker, I want to say that it's so unfortunate that in my constituency we have a small unity that has been set up at Magena Special School, and if you go there, it is a situation that can make you cry, because these kids and the whole unit has no single facility, beginning from the classrooms, going all the way to the boarding section, and even including the food that these children are supposed to feed. So I want to say that setting up the special unit has to begin with looking at the resources that are required to run these schools. We should have adequate teachers who are trained in this area. We should also have a budget that caters for the feeding of these children. After all, we have got a food program in this country. That program should be spread across all special units set in all the national schools. Because even at community level, most parents will give least attention to pupils with the disability. So I want to say, Mr. Speaker, that this particular motion is quite timely, that we need to integrate our children with disability in every primary school, but also be willing to provide the necessary resources. I'm a member of the Education Committee. This is something that we have taken very seriously. Although the budget this year may not have reflected adequate allocation and a specific allocation for this kind of facilities, I think we have this opportunity to relook back into the budget and be able to say, no, I think we need every unity in every school so that these children are able to be integrated at the community level. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I support this motion.
Very good contribution. And honorable members, you must remember that you hold the knife and the yam, as it were. You are in charge of the budget. So our children with disabilities learning in pathetic conditions, as the member for Bonchari has contributed, then should be clearly in our court. The Honorable Martin Owino, member for Ndiwa.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm very grateful for this time to contribute to this motion of establishment of special units in schools. From the onset, Mr. Speaker, Ndiwa has almost 300,000 people. And we have a very substantial number of disabled children, emotionally, physically, and also many sorts of disabilities. But the whole constituency, Mr. Speaker, does not have not even a single special school. So you find that, Mr. Speaker, many children from there goes to other constituencies. Some are even far. Just in addition to that, adding insult to injury, raising a disabled child is very, very expensive. And therefore, sending them again to another institution far away is even additional expenditure on the same family which is suffering from that condition. Mr. Speaker, I think we have to do this in a very structural manner so that when a school is built, it should have a special unit with all the gadgets that are required, including ramps and also staffing. Mr. Speaker, we have so many teachers who have done special education, but they are wrongly currently deployed. If we establish these units, these special teachers will get right places to work in. In addition, I think they will be very instrumental in identifying children, especially those who are having emotional deficiency. We call them in other terms statistics kids, to join this type of population. So I support this with all my heart, and I hope the committee concerned will also look there positively, because we don't even have, not even a single special education school in that whole constituency. So thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Kiai, member from Quorum.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I stand to support the motion. Mr. Speaker, from the onset, it's good to state that right to education is guaranteed by our Constitution. And therefore, even PWDs are entitled to these rights under the Constitution. Mr. Speaker, sir, PWDs have been one of the groups in Kenya that have really been abandoned by our government and the leaders, so to speak. And it is a very timely motion to ensure that these kids are given a platform upon which they are able to realize fully their gifts. And the only place that we can do that is by providing special units in our schools, is by providing those units with resources to ensure that the talent that they possess is not only discovered, it is also nurtured, promoted, and put to good use thereafter. Mr. Speaker, sir, these units should be put in the usual ordinary schools. Why? Because we need also to integrate them into the normal lifestyle of other human beings. This way, we'll make sure that the feeling of being discriminated is not there. They are fully considered as members of the society, enjoying full rights as guaranteed under the Constitution. Mr. Speaker, sir, when I was campaigning for the seat in Mokoroini, I realized that there are so many PWDs living within the society, but they never seem to see the light of the day. I found many who had been tethered in trees, kept in dark corners, and this is not because their parents don't love them. It is only because they had to do that to ensure that they cater for the family out there, whereas as they do that, they needed to keep those kids somewhere. In the process, what we have is a situation whereby they are discriminated upon. When I talk to many parents out there, they told me that the cost of maintaining a PWD in your homestead is so high. They need to be taken to special schools that are so far away, and you have to cater for boarding facilities and special equipments. And by ensuring that this motion is passed, we are going to bring those facilities near and closer to the PWDs. It will also be necessary to request the government at this point that the cost of those facilities that are used by PWDs be subsidized or zero rated, or given free to those who suffer from disabilities. Mr. Speaker, sir, disability is not inability. There are so many examples of PWDs who have ascended to greater heights in life. And the examples are even available in this parliament. We have Honorable Wanyonyi here, we have Denita, Honorable Denita. There are many. Their disability has not made them not perform what they are supposed to do in the society. These people need to be given a chance to ensure that their full potential is realized. We need also to put resources, teachers, to those institutions so that those people living with disabilities feel appreciated and feel like they are part of a Kenyan society. I support. Thank you.
The member for Nyali, the Honorable Mohammed.
Shukran sana Mheshimiwa Spika. Langu ni kuunga mkono mswada huu na kupendekeza pia Wizara ya Elimu iweze kuzingatia na kufuatilia kuhakikisha kwamba walemavu pia wana nafasi katika taifa hili. Sisi kama wabunge ama viongozi tunapata shida sana wakati ambapo tunakujiwa na Wakenya wenzetu ambao ni walemavu katika ofisi zetu. Kwa mfano ukiangalia sehemu ambao mimi natoka Mombasa, kaunti ya Mombasa, nimepata visa kama hivyo vingi sana katika ofisi yangu. Na inakuwa vigumu kuwasaidia kwa sababu serikali haijawekeza wala kuwafikiria watoto hawa jinsi ambao ya kuwapa elimu bora, sio kuanzia tu shule ya chekechea bali waende mpaka shule ya msingi, shule ya upili na hata chuo kikuu ili waweze kupigania nafasi zao kama Wakenya wengine. Mingairi na hayo, licha ya kuweka shule, vile vile tunaomba wawe na hospitali zao ambazo zitaweza kukimu mahitaji yao, kwa sababu ukiwaweka pamoja na Wakenya wengine wa kawaida walio na afya kuna kuwa na matatizo chungu nzima. Shule ambazo zipo ni shule chache sana nchini Kenya. Ukiangalia mimi kama mbunge najua shule 2 peke yake. Ile ambayo ni Thika Schools for the Blind na Joy Town ambayo bado iko Thika. Hizi shule zihakikishwe zimewekwa katika kila kaunti ili tuweze kusaidia hawa walemavu ambao ni Wakenya wenzetu na ambao wanapigania hii demokrasia, na demokrasia sawa ni demokrasia ya usawa kwa kila Mkenya. Walimu na bajeti. Walimu ni haba. Walimu ambao wanaweza kidhi mahitaji ya hawa wanafunzi ni wachache mno. Ni lazima serikali iwekeze na kuhakikisha kuna walimu wanaopokea mafunzo spesheli ya kuweza kuangalia watoto hawa. Bajeti nitazungumzia na kuitaka serikali itoe bajeti kubwa sana kwa walemavu, kwa sababu hawa hawana nguvu kama Wakenya wengine. Waekezewe bajeti ambayo itawafaa. Na naposema bajeti nazungumzia labda swala kama karo, bursaries ambazo tunapatiana kwa mashule. Wahakikishiwe yao imeinuliwa juu kabisa, kwa sababu wao ni tofauti kabisa. Vitu ambavyo wanahitaji ni tofauti na vitu ambavyo Mkenya wa kawaida anahitaji. Pia katika mambo ya michezo tuwekeze pia, tusiseme tu shule, tuwekeze katika hii shule na tuangalia kwamba wanaweza pata vifaa spesheli, vifaa ambavyo pia Wakenya wengine wanapata katika shule mbalimbali. Na wazo langu ni kwamba wakati ambapo shule zinatengezwa, shule zinaundwa, ni vyema tufikirie kwamba pia wao tuwawekee nafasi ya kuhakikisha wajihisi ni mojawapo ya Wakenya wengine ili waweze kuendelea na maisha kama Wakenya wengine. Mimi naunga mswada huu na naufurahia. Mbunge aliyeileta nampa kongole na kusema ya kwamba mimi nitasimama na mswada huu. Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika.
The Honorable Malimo, member for Lysamis. The Honorable Malimo, your mic, I think, has been having a problem. We've not been able to pick it from morning. Probably you could move to the dispatch box. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to contribute to this motion. Mr. Speaker, the motion states that we establish special units in every primary and secondary school for children with disability. Mr. Speaker, it is true that many of our children, school-going children, are actually suffering out there, and they are unable actually to access education due to their condition of physical condition. Mr. Speaker, as far as Constitution is concerned, Constitution 100 states that women and persons of disabilities, youth, ethnic and minorities, including marginalized communities, should be given preference. Mr. Speaker, as much as this motion requires establishment of building of structures in primary school and secondary school, I think it is also prudent to note that these children, first, it is also important that they are given attention in terms of maybe stipend. Mr. Speaker, we also need to look at their health status so that we recommend that children with disability should be given free medical care. They should be given free primary education. The government should be able to pay for their secondary school all the way to university. They should be given actually wheelchairs. We should be able to provide total care for these children so that we may actually be able to see that they are part and parcel of this society. For these few remarks, thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Very well. We shall have the Honorable Nyenze Edith, member for Kitui West.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I stand to support this motion of establishing a special needs units in every primary and secondary school. And I also note that actually it's very good to integrate the pupils who are physically challenged with the others who are leading a normal life. Because from there they will be able to learn and also feel like a part of the society, feel that they are appreciated, and from there they will develop freely. I'm saying that because I'm educating one boy who has a problem of being impaired, his hearing as a problem, and he was taken to a boarding school, and I find him having difficulties integrating with the normal people because every time he feels shy when he mixes with the others. So there is need to integrate the physically challenged pupils together with the others who have who are leading a normal life. But I also note that we might not have enough resources, comparing that, bearing in mind that the physically challenged may not be that many. So establishing in every primary school and every secondary school, I'm sure there might be problems with the resources. So my suggestion would be that we just establish as per need. We identify a few schools where we would put the people who are physically challenged. We start the units in schools, as I've said, as per need. Because if we start in all the schools, then we might just be wasting resources. So I think that can also be looked into. In addition to giving these units, it's good to also have free medical care. It's good to also have free education. It's also, I noted in one of the families in my constituency, where all the people in that family are physically challenged. They actually are mentally handicapped, and in such a family, it's good for them to be given, to be taken care of. In fact, I'm in the process of making sure that the children get education, get to the right institutions, and that the family members are catered for. They are taken to the right institutions because there's no one to take care of them. In my constituency, there is a school for mentally handicapped, only one school, and I visited them last month, and I found that they have good resources, but we need to establish other institutions where the other people with different challenges can be taken and be taken care of. So, Mr. Speaker, sir, I support the motion, but my request is that we identify the needs and establish them as per need. Thank you. With that, I support.
Very well. The Honorable Mwangaza Kawira, member for Meru.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I want to support the motion, the establishment of special needs units in every primary and secondary school. Mr. Speaker, sir, I come from a county, a very big county, where we have more than 1,122 primary and secondary public schools. With more than 1,000 schools, we only have 118 units. That means we have a lot of PWDs that don't have a place that they can go to learn. Mr. Speaker, sir, PWDs in our communities are so many, with a lot of children who are talented, who are gifted, and when given an opportunity to learn or to join any school that is around, can do marvelous. I want to support this motion, Mr. Speaker, sir, that we need every school, that is primary and secondary school, to have a unit so that our children living with disability can get alive and can get a chance to learn. Mr. Speaker, sir, I have so many cases in my county where we have so many poor parents that cannot afford to pay for the child in any private or even the public schools that we have, simply because that the schools are very expensive, the private schools are very expensive, and most of our parents cannot afford. It is my humble request and also appeal that as far as we look to addition of the units in our counties, we should also consider having the cost or having, not having any fees or at no cost at all to the children living with a disability. Mr. Speaker, sir, I want to support this motion. Let us have every school, every primary or secondary should have a unit to help our people down there in our communities. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
The Honorable Ombaka, member for Siaya.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. This country believes in free and compulsory education for every child, because education is a right for everybody. We also believe in integrating all communities. If we are to integrate all communities, every tribe, then it also means we need to integrate children with a disability in schools where we consider children to be having no disability. So this is a very good bill, and I support it because it shows that we are interested in integrating children with disability in other schools where normal children are. Secondly, I would not really emphasize the need to establish such schools in every primary school and secondary, because sometimes you find a primary school so close to another primary school, or a secondary school is very, very close to another. And due to lack of teachers and resources, we may need to establish these schools maybe one in a constituency or one in a ward, so that we can save on staff and resources. Otherwise, this is a very good bill. And the very fact that these are children with disability, it also means that their lifestyles is special. They need more funding, they need a lot of resources, and that means that the Ministry of Education should invest a lot in such schools, because the needs of those children are much more expensive than any other. I have in mind one of the schools in my county where the children require sanitary pads and a special type, actually, and they cannot afford all this. This is because the children there are not able to take care of themselves, and they need to have special pads for them. It's been very difficult for them. So I think the Ministry of Education should invest heavily in special schools. Otherwise, this is a very good bill, and I support it.
Honorable members, we have now to call upon the mover to reply. you are not the mover. Honorable members, I see a lot of interest. It's true, we have 24 members who would like to contribute to this. But the problem is the strictures we've put ourselves under our rules. I would have loved for this conversation to continue, but we have actually run out of time. So the mover, you can donate a minute or two to the members who are showing a lot of interest. It is up to you. You have 5 minutes. The Honorable Kaluma, you are not the mover. The Honorable Mishi, you are the mover. The floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Speaker, sir. Honorable Speaker, because of the interest of so many members, before I reply, I just want to donate maybe 1 minute to 2 members. One to my bishop here, and the other one to Passaris.
Well, the bishop to the Honorable Mishi, that must be the Honorable Odepe, the member for Turkana. You have a minute. Give him the mic, please. The Honorable Odepe.
Thank you, Mheshimiwa Juma. Honorable Speaker, mine is just one point. For us to make these disabled students self-reliant, we must give them education and skills that can make them to be very important people in the community. And the only way we can do that, Honorable Speaker, is by having the institutions near them, and we must equip those institutions. I support it. Thank you.
Very well. The Honorable Passaris, member for Nairobi.
Mr. Speaker, sir, thank you for this opportunity. I want to congratulate my sister for bringing up this motion, and I support the motion. When you look at children with disabilities, majority of them are not actually going to school, and it's because the schools are not available. And if we make every primary school and every secondary school have a special unit, then we will ensure that the children have access to education and all the services that are supposed to be offered under the Bill of Rights. For me, the special needs children require to be in primary school and secondary school. But what's most important is this will give us an opportunity to collect data as a country of all the children. And then it will also give the Ministry of Education the opportunity to look at where are there gaps? Where don't we have primary schools? Like if you look at Nairobi, we have 85 wards. Not all the wards have got primary schools or secondary schools. And at the same time, Mr. Speaker, sir, what we need to ensure is that the families of the children with special needs, there is an absolute need for the government to take data and to ensure that we provide social services to them. For instance, waiver of taxes for children, for parents who have disability children, and support from social structures. So, Mr. Speaker, sir, because I was given 1 minute, I stand to support the motion. Thank you. Madam Speaker.
Do we have another, somebody else?
Yes, Madam Speaker, I want to donate 1 minute to the Women Rep for Mandera County.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mrs. Speaker. And thank you, my sister Mbishi, honorable member, to give me this opportunity. I stand to support this motion, establishment of special needs units in every primary and secondary school in this country. Where I come from in Mandera, we are bordering two countries, Somalia and Ethiopia. And as you all know, it's a right for every child in this country. There is a right for them, like any other children in this country. They have the right to go to school. Sorry. People with disability in this country are facing so many problems. They have no access to education. And there is a need for them to fit in the society like any other. I have a sister who is my follower. Why I'm so concerned about this special motion today is I have a sister who is my follower who is disabled. I know she has not gone to school. She can speak very good English. And if supposing she's given an opportunity, she could be someone's very big person in this country today. She always regrets, because the day we were taken to school, both of us, the teacher said she cannot fit in the classroom. So I'm only given 1 minute. I stand to support this motion. The government to fully support and allocate a budget for special needs unit in primary and secondary school. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Mishi, I think you became over generous. You donated all your minutes, but I'll give you 2 minutes to wind up.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Speaker. I beg to reply this motion. And first, Madam Speaker, let me begin by thanking all the honorable members for overwhelmingly supporting this motion, Madam Speaker. I'm delighted that almost all members of this House have supported the motion, and I take cognizance of handful of suggestions put forward to add value to this motion, Madam Speaker. Madam Speakers, members in their contribution have talked about various challenges facing the Ministry of Education in the management of the special needs education, ranging from inadequate funding, lack of trained human resource, as well underdeveloped infrastructure, Madam Speaker. We have seen that there are so many equipment also which are lacking, from brailles, Madam Speaker, the hearing devices, Madam Speaker, the wheelchairs, and others, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I have a strong belief that if expeditiously implemented, this motion will go a long way in addressing most of these challenges, and I therefore invoke the Committee on Implementation to look into this. I also want to urge the Committee on Education to also take some proposal, especially when we are doing budgeting processes, so that we can get allocation for the same. I also want to request our honorable member in this parliament to also put some proposal through the National Government Constituency Development Fund Committee to have some allocation in putting up this unit, Madam Speaker. I will also, with the assistance of the legal team in our parliament, Madam Speaker, look upon on the policy which is available right now and see whether there is a proper legal framework to ensure that there is implementation of the special unit in all the primary and secondary school in our constituency, Madam Speaker. As I finish, Madam Speaker, I wish to state that I treat with a lot of regard members' contribution and further thank all of them for supporting my idea. Having said this, Honorable Speaker, I beg to reply.
I see Honorable Kingi. You have an intervention to make? We are just at the conclusion of the motion. Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I stand guided by Standing Order 53.3. We say, despite paragraph 3, the Speaker might, on the request of a member, defer the putting of the question of the floor, the putting of the question to the following day, in which case the Speaker shall thereupon nominate a time at which the question shall be put. Given the mood of the House and the situation as it is, I request that this question be deferred to another appropriate day. Thank you.
Very well, Honorable Kingi. As per the provisions of the standing order, I rule that we defer the putting of the question on this motion until such a time when the House Business Committee will slot it in the order paper. And therefore, we can move to the next order.
Order number 10, motion. Provision of financial support as disaster relief to coconut farmers affected by drought in Kilifi County.
Honorable Owen Bayer. Please give the mic to the honorable member.
Good. Thank you, Madam Speaker, for this opportunity to present this motion. That aware that agriculture is the mainstay of the Kenyan economy, contributing to food security and employment of rural households. Further aware that the recurrent drought being experienced in many parts of the country has adversely affected this sector, leading to a worrying drop in production, particularly among the coconut farmers in Kilifi County. Noting that the farmers in Kilifi have not only suffered losses of income for their livelihoods due to the drought, but are also faced with huge debts resulting from high interest levied for default on loans advanced to them for coconut production, recognizing that the government of Kenya in 2016 launched the Kenya National Agricultural Insurance Program, which is designed to, among other things, address challenges that agricultural producers face when there are large production shocks, such as droughts and floods, with focus on livestock insurance and maize and wheat insurance. This House urges the government to provide financial support as disaster relief to the affected coconut farmers in Kilifi County and put in place sustainable measures to mitigate future drought-related losses through inclusion of coconut insurance under the National Agriculture Insurance Program. Madam Speaker, the coconut tree is said to be the tree of life. And the coconut tree is one of the sleeping giants in this country, a tree predominantly grown in the coastal towns of Kenya, especially in Kwale, in Kilifi, in Mombasa, in Lamu, in Tana River, and Taita Taveta counties. Madam Speaker, it's also important to note that the plant is also, these days, grown in such areas as Nyanza, Western Kenya, Eastern and Rift Valley regions. But the coast region accounts for 99% of the coconut production. The plant has huge economic potential, which, if properly utilized, Madam Speaker, can enhance economic growth and catapult our nation towards poverty and hunger reduction, while propelling the nation towards achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals as enshrined in Vision 2030. According to the Kenya Agricultural Livestock Research Organization, CARO, in their 2016 report, they said that the current monetary value of coconut and coconut products is around 3.2 billion shillings, which is only 25% of the estimated potential of 13 billion annually. The coconut subsector is one of the key economic drivers in Kenya and supports over 150,000 households who directly rely on it for income, employment, and food. Madam Speaker, this clearly implies that 75% of the potential of coconut in this country is untapped, thus denying the country the much-needed agro-based revenue, which is critical to achieve sustainable development goals, and especially for the regions that highly grow this crop. Madam Speaker, look, the coconut has many economic uses. Very little interventions in the past years since independence have been put in place to optimize its huge economic
potential and maximize its returns for socio-economic reasons. Madam Speaker, there is inadequate value addition as we stand now on the coconut subsector. There is very little that is being done to commercialize the coconut subsector through technology, innovation, infrastructure development, distribution, marketing, and financing. Now, this has been one of the reasons that the coconut subsector has continued to underperform in this country, and therefore not giving this country the much needed revenue that it looks at today. The president is talking about the Big Four agenda, and one of them is manufacturing. Value addition gives us an opportunity to actually do the manufacturing and create jobs and also sell our products at high level, just like other countries have done. But if you look at the products that the coconut tree gives us today, you realize that there has been very little, minute effort at ensuring that we have better products. The palm wine that is consumed widely in this country that comes from the coconut is only 60%. Mature nuts takes 24%. Brooms. These days, this country imports brooms from other countries, but the coconut tree can supply enough better quality brooms for this country instead of importing brooms and offsetting the balance of trade for this country. Cocoa wood and other products. Today, the flower industry uses materials from the coconut tree to actually grow flowers, the cocoa peat. Now, interestingly, the cocoa peat that you used mostly in Naivasha and other parts of this country to grow flowers, you will be surprised, Madam Speaker, to realize that it is imported. And therefore increasing the cost of production of flowers in this country, while the coast region could actually supply that. But because there has not been any intervention in terms of support, the coconut tree, which has huge potential in this country, continues to go down, and yet we increase the amount of imports in this country and making the balance of trade be negative towards, skewed towards the country. And therefore it is important that we invest in the coconut tree so that we can reap the benefits that it can give us. Now the crop produces over 100 byproducts. Probably the only tree in this world that can do that. 100 byproducts, and I do want to go into that. And like I said, you have an annual turnover, possible annual turnover of 13 billion shillings for this country, which is not being realized. Now, the Daily Nation of November 2nd, 2010 said this: there is need to exploit local resources such as the coconut, as they have huge economic benefits which can only be realized through proper value addition, interventions and linkages, thus creating more employment, alleviating poverty, and boosting Kenya's economic growth towards middle-class industrialized nation as envisioned through Vision 2030. Now, if you look at what AFA, the Agricultural Food, Fisheries and Food Authority, has said that coconut plant can create up to 500,000 jobs annually. That is what AFA, which is a government agency, has said over 500 jobs can be created annually through the coconut subsector. Now, if you look at what AFA continues to say, Kenya has 7.4 million coconut trees covering only 200,000 hectares. The average estimated potential of coconut industry in Kenya stands at 13 billion annually, where the current exploited monetary value is only 3.2 billion, only 25%. Now, if we are looking at developing this country and taking to the next level, then you have greater potential to actually invest, just like other countries like Malaysia, Sri Lanka, and Indonesia have invested. India today, one of the major producers of coconut, has leveraged on the coconut subsector to increase the GDP of its country and the per capita income. Just the coconut subsector is driving the economy of India. And yet here we have an opportunity which we are not exploiting as a country. Madam Speaker, after having said all these things, which are very good things and the potential that we have, we need to look at the sad story. Now, the sad story is that Kilifi was hit by drought in the years 2016, 2017. This drought made sure that the coconut tree does not get enough rainfall. And if you look at the statistics given by NDMA in 2017, the National Drought Management Authority, it said that the drought hit the coconut tree very hard. And a lot of the trees actually had their crown collapse. And therefore, the coconut tree just became a trunk and no longer a tree. The coconut tree died with the drought. If you go to Kilifi County today, you realize that you have over 450,000 trees which have been hit by the drought and they're dead. Now, if this subsector is supporting 150,000 households, it means you have 150,000 households. And if each household has at least 5 members, then you have almost 500,000 people within this region that have no income because the coconut tree that they were depending on is no longer there. There hasn't been any deliberate effort from government up to today to try to go down there and look at what the issues are. Today, when you speak about this, people will say, you know, agriculture is devolved. But yes, agriculture is devolved. We know agriculture is devolved, but when the drought hit coffee and tea, and the miraa industry was affected, and the sugarcane industry was affected, billions of shillings of taxpayers' money were aligned to save these sectors. Today, over 3.2 billion was put to save the miraa industry. If you calculate what coffee and tea has received, over 10 billion shillings were put by the national government to save the coffee and tea industry. When sugar has problems, government put in a lot of money. Pan Paper, a moribund company, this government outlaid billions of shillings to save Pan Paper and the paper industry in this country. When the meat industry had issues, the Kenya meat industries had issues, government put in billions of shillings to save this industry. And many other sectors in this country have been saved by government, and yet they are devolved. Because they're important for the growth of the economy of this country. So is the coconut, is equally important. And if the coconut is equally important, it deserves to be rescued. And the first rescue line, Madam Speaker, is to ensure that the people of Kilifi have been compensated just like the other farmers in this country have been compensated because of drought. Now, this financial assistance that goes to these people will leverage for them paying school fees, buying food for themselves, and planting a new crop. A crop that has been properly researched, and a crop that has put many agronomists together to ensure that within the shortest time period, the man and woman from Kilifi can enjoy the fruits of the coconut tree, just like any other Kenyan enjoys the fruits of the crops for which God bestowed for them in their regions. Madam Speaker, the livestock sector in this country has immensely benefited from the national government insurance program on livestock because of the drought. And billions of shillings from national government and from donors and other partners have been sunk into in the livestock sector to save the industry. And this sector has continued to be broadened to include other parts of the country apart from Northeastern and other parts of this country. The same way that these sectors have been saved by the insurance, we are saying drought is killing the coconut tree. It is as good as the livestock, and therefore money should be put in the coconut sector, whether by insurance or direct payments to farmers to save the industry. Otherwise, as years go by, those who enjoy coconut rice, which is a delicacy in many parts of this country, and those who come to the coast to enjoy the delicacies that come from the coconut, will forever want an opportunity again in future because the coconut tree will not be there. We have an opportunity as a house, and this house can stand to be counted, that the 12th Parliament stood with the coconut farmers of the coast region, that they stood to ensure that the coconut does not disappear from the face of Kenya, that this house has an opportunity to urge the government and to resolve that government puts money to save the coconut tree. And not only to save the coconut tree, but to also save the coconut farmer by ensuring that the coconut farmer, just like the coffee farmer and any other farmer, has an opportunity to receive money from government so that they can reorganize their lives as they look forward to the future. Madam Speaker, I have the statistics here that are very sad statistics that show how many trees have been destroyed and to show how many families are suffering. And today, the poverty index in Kilifi County and most parts of the coast has continued to dip. And therefore, we have more people joining the poverty class in Kilifi County than any other time. Now, this can't be reversed, Madam Speaker. And this House and this government, and to take advantage of the handshake and to take advantage of the President's Agenda 4, especially on manufacturing, we have an obligation, Madam Speaker, that we save the coconut sector by putting in some money. At this level, I urge my fellow members here to support this motion. But first, I would like to request the Honorable John Mbadi, the leader of minority, to second this motion. Thank you very much. I beg to move.
Oh, very well. Honorable Mbadi.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I rise to be associated with this motion, which is moved by my friend, the Honorable Owen Bayer. First, I want to congratulate my friend for bringing a motion that is of huge importance to his people.
And it's a very good choice of a seconder. No one would think that you know anything to do with coconuts.
Thank you.
Let's hear you.
Thank you very much. Madam Speaker, the Honorable Owen Bayer, as I started saying, has brought a motion that is of great importance to his people, and we are elected in this House as people's representatives to resolve issues that are of concern to them. I want to, from the onset, to further mention that this motion actually was sponsored by the minority party. I signed for him so that it could take precedence. That's why it has come very quickly on the order paper. Madam Speaker, we are very much aware that coastal region is actually one of the regions in this country that has high incidences of poverty, where the poverty index is very high. Madam Speaker, a government that is responsive enough would look at such regions and identify opportunities that would be exploited for the development of such regions and to uplift the economic well-being of the people of such a region. Madam Speaker, coconut is such a major crop at the coast. It's such a major crop. The coconut tree is such a major tree at the coast, and we all know that. I want to also agree with the Honorable Owen Bayer that this particular tree has capacity and potential to produce several products, which would go a long way in bringing much needed money or income to the pockets of coconut farmers. Madam Speaker, what is worrying is that the Kenyan government, and more particularly the ministries concerned, the Ministry of Agriculture, in conjunction with the Ministry of Trade and Industry, are sleeping on the job. They're sleeping on the job because they are not innovative enough. They are not looking at the potential of ways of tapping on huge potential that exists in this country. And that the case of coconut is an evident, a clear indictment to these two ministries. Madam Speaker, our coconut is taken to Tanzania and sold at throwaway prices to Tanzania for further processing. And Madam Speaker, when I talk of Tanzania, Tanzania is not such an advanced country compared to Kenya. We are more advanced than Tanzania, but you realize that you find that we take our coconut, we sell coconut to Tanzania in throwaway prices, and the Tanzanians take advantage of value addition to process it further, something which we could do here, thereby denying Kenyans much needed employment opportunities. Madam Speaker, in the spirit of the Big Four agenda, where manufacturing sector and job creation is very prominent, it is important that the ministries concerned take up this matter so seriously so that it becomes a core component of one of the big four agenda in terms of promoting coconut processing, so that we are able to compete with countries, as Honorable Wenbaya has mentioned, like Malaysia and Indonesia, among others. So, Madam Speaker, I have talked broadly about the importance of coconut, about the potential of this crop that is not being exploited by our government. And, Madam Speaker, sometimes I find the Ministry of Agriculture very interesting. A lot of times they are so fixed on traditional ways of doing things that when we talk about even food security, etc., we are only thinking about maize. And if we try, we think about rice. I think it is high time that this ministry become more creative and innovative. If food security, which is another pillar, another big four agenda, is to be realized in this country, we need to think outside the box. And I think it is important that we look at the entire country and find out what each and every part of this country would be able to produce at competitive advantage, and take advantage of that, move it forward, so that this country can not only be food secure, but would also have the capacity to industrialize and develop. Madam Speaker, the Honorable Owen Bayer's prayer is very valid. Madam Speaker, we all are aware of what happened in this country in the years 2016 to 2017. We are aware of the drought. In fact, of the past few days, we have had a charade in this country in the name of the investigation of sugar, the report of sugar, which has addressed heavily the importation of sugar last year. It appeared to me when we were discussing that Kenyans have even forgotten the kind of situation we were in as a country last year, when we almost reached the point of having food riots in this country. But we are having food riots because of the drought that started from 2016 all the way to 2017, after which then we had extraordinary or rains in quantities that we never, in quantity that we never expected. But, Madam Speaker, the drought caused destruction. The drought caused the coastal people and those who grow coconut to lose. And that is what Honorable Owen Bayer is saying. And in such a case, a responsible government needs to look for ways of compensating farmers to bring them back on their feet. Because you see, in this country, for you to grow crops, to be involved in agriculture in a more progressive way, what you do is you go to the banks and borrow money. When you go to banks and borrow money and put in your farm, and then you lose the entire crop, what happens? The banks will come for the security that you had placed, for the collateral. And a number of times, these farmers have actually used their title deeds. Therefore, we are exposing these farmers to possible auction by various financial institutions that advanced them the loan to be able to grow the coconut tree. Madam Speaker, and this is not an idle prayer. It is not. We have evidence in this country that so many farmers have previously, and for good reason. We are not saying that those farmers should have not benefited from the grants coming from the government, or bailout, as we usually call them. Most farmers, coffee industry has been struggling for a very long time. But because of government intervention, sometimes coffee farming has been kept afloat. So coffee farmers, a number of times, not once, not twice, have had waiver on loans, have had their loans written off from the exchequer, actually taxpayers' money. But the money that is paid to cushion coffee farmers, to cushion sugar farmers, remember we gave bailout even to Mumia's sugar, which was a good thing. We gave money to Mira industry, which money I think has been embezzled, because I have not heard about it since it was given. In fact, I think it was money that we just threw, like money you would throw to an ocean. The Mira farmers, I'm sure, have not even benefited. Madam Speaker, we have even spent money as a country on struggling businesses, like Uchumi supermarket, for example. We have paid a lot of money to bail out Uchumi, which has not even been successful. We have paid money to bail out KQ, which is our national carrier. But Madam Speaker, what I'm saying is that that money that we pay to all these institutions, that we pay to coffee farmers, we pay to sugar farmers, we pay to mirror farmers in those particular regions, who are Kenyans anyway, that money comes from all of us in Kenya. It comes from Northeastern, it comes from Nyanza, it comes from the coast, it comes from Western. And therefore, the farmers from the coast are also entitled to consideration by us as a country. I think it is wrong, it would be wrong for us as a country to to make decisions in a way that looks like we are favoring some regions, that we are discriminating some regions against others. That is why at times you find some regions in this country are very bitter, Madam Speaker, with governments in power. That is why you find some regions would say that we would rather stay in the opposition as opposed to joining a government that does not help us. Madam Speaker, it is my prayer and wish that this matter is going to be taken seriously so that these farmers can benefit and so that we protect them from possible financial distress that is facing them at the moment unless an intervention is taken. Madam Speaker, with those many remarks, and I can see my time is up, I second the motion. Thank you very much.
Very well said. Order, members. Members who are on their feet, take your seats. Honorable members, I go on to propose the question, which is that aware that agriculture is a mainstay of the Kenyan economy, contributing to food security and employment of rural households, further aware that the recurrent drought being experienced in many parts of the country has adversely affected this sector, leading to a worrying drop in production, particularly among the coconut farmers in Kilifi County, noting that farmers in Kilifi have not only suffered losses of income for their livelihood due to drought, but are also faced with the huge debts resulting from high interest levied for default on loans advanced to them for coconut production, recognizing that the government of Kenya in 2016 launched the Kenya National Agricultural Insurance Program, which is designed to, among other things, address the challenges that agricultural producers face when there are large production stocks, such as droughts and floods, with focus on livestock insurance, and maize and wheat insurance. This House urges the government to provide financial support as disaster relief to the affected coconut farmers in Kilifi County and put in place sustainable measures to mitigate future drought-related losses through inclusion of coconut insurance under the National Agricultural Insurance Program. I have a total of 14 requests here, and by now members know that you each have 5 minutes to contribute to this motion. And I think the Honorable Baya and Honorable Mbadi have set the pace. Some of these motions are very educative and enlightening, because I know the likes of Honorable Nakara and maybe Honorable Paris did not know that the coconut tree is as valuable as a cow is to them, to the people of Kilifi. And that when we talk about drought, it also affects, you know, the coconut tree. So I think it's educative and also an avenue for the government to actually diversify support for the agricultural sector. So I think that sets the pace for contributions, and I'll follow my list. I have the Honorable Hulufo, order. Member for Isiolo North.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I stand to support this very important motion, Madam Speaker. I would like to state that coconut tree is a very important crop to our brothers and sisters from the coast region. It is also important to us as Kenyans. And I think we need to value coconut as much as we value tea, coffee, and other horticultural crops. And therefore, whatever support farmers, Kenyan farmers who grow tea, coffee, and other crops receive should be extended to our farmers at the coast of Kenya. Madam Speaker, if we look at coconut, if we look at importance of coconut as a tree to Kenya as a country, you realize that on average, the revenues generated by coconut farming is roughly 3.2 billion. But potentially, this crop can help us as a country to generate a revenue of 13 billion. And therefore, the current production hardly reaches a quarter of the potential of this particular crop. And another very important thing which we need to appreciate is the fact that this crop predominantly grows in a region which is characterized by high levels of poverty. And therefore, if our government actually invests in this sector, it will go a long way in alleviating poverty at the coast, and therefore helping us as a country to reduce the number of people who are living below the poverty line. Madam Speaker, because of climate change, as a country, in the recent past, we have experienced very severe droughts which have become more frequent, and therefore which has had very serious negative impact on agricultural production, both livestock production and crop production. For instance, since the year 1990, we have, as a country, we have actually gone through episodes which we can call serious droughts, 12 of them. And as we move into the future, if we look at the trend, we are likely to have more droughts. And therefore, it is high time, as a country, we cushion our farmers against adverse weather conditions. This is not something unique to us. It is happening everywhere in the world, including even developed countries. Countries like US, Australia, for example, now is currently going through a very serious drought, and they are subsidizing their farmers to the extent of even providing, some relief to enable the farmers to feed their livestock, to provide water, and so on and so forth. And therefore, this particular motion, which is urging the government to help coconut farmers actually recover from the past drought, as well as also put in place measures to help them mitigate and be able to cope with future drought, is very timely, Madam Speaker. As a country, I think we have already piloted a scheme of providing insurance for agriculturalists. Pastoralists, for example, in many parts of this country now are enjoying livestock insurance, and some crops have also been covered. And therefore, it's not asking too much of the government to extend the same to coconut farmers. On the other hand, what do we achieve as a country if we invest in coconut farming? As a result of underproduction in this sector, we are investing close to billions of Kenyan shillings actually to import oil. If we invest in this sector as proposed and we enable the country to achieve the maximum potential, Madam Speaker, we will be able to save up to 8 billion Kenyan shillings by avoiding importation of oil and so on and so forth. And therefore, as I conclude, I would like to say that this...
You didn't finish. Okay. All right. Honorable Wanjala Sauti, is he here? Member for Budalangi? No. Let's have the Honorable Member for Kilifi County, Mwanyanje Mbeyu.
Asante, Madam Speaker. Nimesimama kuunga mkono hoja hii. Madam Speaker, nikiwa mpwani, nikiwa mama wa jimbo la Kilifi, hoja hii ni ya muhimu kwa watu wote wa pwani na maeneo yote yale yanokuza mmea wa mnazi. Madam Speaker, tukueleza kwa ufasaha, mmea huu ni mmea wa muhimu kuliko mimea mingine yote ninayoijua mimi nikiwa natoka kule Kilifi. Mmea huu una faida na alileta hoja hii, amesema zaidi ya 100. Madam Speaker, kuweza kuweka pesa za kufidia wakulima wa mnazi walioathirika kwa ukame kule Kilifi na jimbo la Pwani ni la muhimu. Madam Speaker, mmea huu kwa saizi wakale wetu wanatuangalia kwa jicho mbaya, manake mmea huu na faida zake, na hasa pombe ya mnazi, ile juisi inatoka kwa mnazi, ni kitengo muhimu sana katika jamii yetu wa Pwani. Manake unavyoniangalia mimi, Madam Speaker, siwezi kutolewa mahari, wala si kutolewa mahari mpaka pombe ya mnazi ipelekwe kwa babangu kwanza waweze kubariki, ndio mahari kama pesa iweze kutolewa. Faida za mmea wa mnazi, Madam Speaker, katika jimbo la Pwani na hasa Kilifi imekuwa tegemeo kubwa sana kwa wananchi wa kwetu. Wengi sisi tumelelewa kulipiwa fees, Madam Speaker, kwa mama zetu wameweza kuuza pombe ya mnazi, na ukiuliza saizi Mangwe nyingi zile sehemu zinauzwa mnazi zimefungwa. Wamama wanateseka kwa sababu hawana bidhaa. Unavyotuona sisi wamama wa Pwani ngozi zetu zikimeremeta, Madam Speaker, ni kwa sababu ya mafuta ya nazi. Sisi hatutumii jeli nyingine zozote, tutumia mafuta ya nazi. Ndio tuona hata wanaume wengi wa bara wakienda kule Pwani mpaka watoke na bibi wa Kipwani, ni kwa sababu sisi bidhaa hizi za tufaa. Madam Speaker, zile fagio zinazotumika Kenya na nchi za nje zinatoka bidhaa moja ya mnazi. Mbao za mnazi sisi twatumia kujengea nyumba, kuwekeza mapaa yetu. Ukienda Pwani katika mfuo wa bahari, utapata hoteli nyingi, Madam Speaker, hazijawekwa paa zao kwa mabati, zimewekwa kwa makuti, ni bidhaa ya mnazi. Kuwa na ukame, minazi mingi imeweza tuseme kufa kwa sababu ya jua lingi na ukame, na tuwaomba serikali hapa iliyofika, mti huu ni muhimu kuliko, nitakwambia majani chai, nitakwambia kahawa, na hata mti wa mraa. Madam Speaker, mmea wa mraa uliopewa bilioni 1 ili wakulima wa miraa waweze kuwekeza zaidi. Mti wa mnazi una faida nyingi sana. Ornaments, nitaziita bangili, vipuli, sema vyovyote ukifika Pwani utavipata, zinatokana na bidhaa ya mnazi. Nazi yenyewe, Madam Speaker, lile tui lake, vile vyakula vyetu ukituona twang'ara, hata mheshimiwa Shetani yuko vile yuliko, ni vyakula vya kupikwa na nazi, Madam Speaker. Kwa hivyo tunaomba serikali kufikia wakati huu, vile vile wameweza kuwekeza pesa katika mimea mingine ile yote. Mti huu wa mnazi tunaomba pesa nyingi waweze kufaidiwa wale wakulima, waweze kupewa wafanyaji kazi wa kilimo ambao wataweza kuelimisha wakulima zaidi, tuweze kupata mbegu ambayo yaweza kustahimili ukame, na tuweze kurejelea kazi zetu za kawaida. Mama zetu kule Pwani, baba zetu kule Pwani waweze kurudia kazi zao za kawaida, wale wagema waweze kufanya kazi zao. Tunahitaji zaidi ya pesa nyingi, bilioni 10 kuweza kuregesha na kufidia wakulima wa mnazi kule Pwani. Madam Speaker, naomba ombi hili serikali liweze kutia manani. Asante sana.
Naona hata sasa tumepewa siri ya kung'ara kupitia kwa mnazi. Kwa upande huu tuko na Mheshimiwa Wanjiro Kihara.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much for a few minutes. I may not reach 5, just like you have said. It is a learning process. Some of us think this is a bush plant, it just grows. Some of us didn't know that actually it's a cash crop in that region. Much as we love the product, For example, when you pass around parklands, you'll see that hand cut with coconut. And we love it. I love that juice. Nevertheless, I didn't know. We are getting to know, and I would like really to thank Mheshimiwa Mbaya for educating us. Yes, agriculture is the mainstay, and what is grown in Kilifi, if this is the plant that will empower the people of Kilifi economically, this is something that as a house we must support. Madam Speaker, I know I like coconut rice, but like I said, we never sat to think exactly what empowers the people of Kilifi. So agriculture, like any other region, like they would go to Nakuru, Naivasha, we are coming back, we are returning pyrethrum, potatoes for Nyandarua, coffee, Miraa, and whatever else. If this is the crop that the coast people need, funded by the government, this is something that we must support. The value addition of coconut, it's something that Mheshimiwa Mama County has really educated me especially. This, I know I use coconut oil, but really it has back in my mind, you really don't even think, where you just go for the coconut oil, not really thinking whether it is that coconut that you see in that Bokokoteni, or there is another coconut. So this is very important that it be included in the category of plants for purposely empowering the coast people. When we see that those men climbing up there, you think it's a hobby. You don't think it's really business they are doing. We have heard about Munazi Pombe, but you never really get to think, is it the same Munazi? Because we have got another bush Nazi, we call Nazi in our region. So you don't know whether it has come from this coconut or is that Munazi. So for purposes of supporting agriculture, which we all agree we want to support the big four, and this is what will assist or aid the people from the coast. We know Mheshimiwa cannot just, being a resident of Kilifi, cannot just wake up and support something that does not add value to his people and the people of the coast. So as we support it, we are going to get to know a lot more about Munazi. I support. Thank you.
Well said. Let's have the member for Kaloleni, Honorable Katana Kahindi.
Asante, Madam Speaker. Nasimama kuchangia hoja hii. Ni kweli mti wa mnazi ni mti muhimu sana katika jimbo la Pwani na Kenya nzima. Lakini kwa muda mrefu mti huu haujatiwa manani na serikali. Mti huu ukitumika vizuri unaweza kuinua maisha ya Pwani na Kenya nzima, na serikali inaweza kupata ushuru mkubwa. Madam Speaker, watu wa Pwani na hasa ile sehemu mimi natoka ya Kaloleni na kile kijiji mimi natoka kinaitwa Makomboani, wameathirika sana na ukame ambao ulikuwa mwaka 2016 na 17. Ukame huu umechangia sana umaskini katika maeneo yetu, kwa sababu mti huu unatumika kama uchumi wa watu wa Pwani. Na baada ya ukame, mti huu ama mmea huu umepotea ama umefariki. Na la kushangaza ni kwamba serikali miaka hii yote hakuna hata kiwanda kimoja imetengeneza ili kusaidia wakazi wa pwani. Kwa wakati huu bidhaa nyingi ama nazi yenyewe inanunuliwa kwa bei duni na inapelekwa katika nchi jirani ya Tanzania, kwa sababu hapa kwetu nchini hakuna kiwanda cha kutengenezea mazao ya mnazi. Watu wengi walikuwa wakiujua mnazi, wanataja mnazi ile pombe peke yake. Wanasahau kwamba mti huu una mazao mengi zaidi ya 100. Ile nazi yenyewe inatumika kupikia chakula. Chakula hiki ni kizuri kwa sababu ni cha kitamaduni na hakina kemikali, ambapo pia inasaidia magonjwa kama ya kansa, kwa sababu hakuna kemikali ambayo inatiwa kwa nazi. Ni kitu ambacho ni cha natural. Na pia kama ulivyoambiwa, utamaduni wetu hasa wa Mijikenda tumetumia sana mti wa mnazi. Huwezi kuenda kuoa au kutoa mahari kabla ile pombe ya mnazi kutumika. Pia tunaona kwamba serikali imetumia pesa nyingi, bilioni nyingi, kuagiza mafuta ya nazi kutoka nje, ili hali tunayo miti ya kutosha ya kutoa mafuta ya nazi. Kwa hivyo serikali inatakana ichukue jukumu la kufidia hawa wakulima ambao wamepoteza minazi mingi kwa sababu ya kiangazi, ili waweze kusaidika kupeleka watoto wao shuleni na pia wenyewe kujikimu kimaisha. Kwa hivyo tunaomba bunge hii ipitishe mswada huu na kuhakikisha kwamba serikali inatengeneza ama inaezekea upande wa viwanda ili wananchi na wakazi wa Kilifi na pwani nzima waweze kufaidika. Asante, naunga mkono.
Tumsikize Mheshimiwa Mwashetani, bunge wa Lungalunga.
Asante sana Bi Speaker kwa kunipa fursa hii kuweza kuchangia kwenye mswada huu ambao ni mswada. Kwanza kabisa ningependa kutoa shukurani na kumshabikia Mheshimiwa Owen Baya na kumpa kongole kwa kuja na wazo hili, kwa sababu Bi Speaker, hili ni jambo ambalo linajulikana kuwa mmea wa mnazi, mbali na kuwa una faida yake ya kindani, lakini pia ukiangalia mandhari yake ukiwa umepandwa sehemu, unaona inarembesha ile sehemu. Madam Speaker, mnazi iwapo utapatiwa nguvu ya kuweza kutumika ama kupandwa kiteknolojia za kisasa, na nikisema hivyo namaanisha ipate nguvu ya kiserikali kuweza kuwezeka ndani yake, basi Madam Speaker, katika kuchangia katika uchumi wa taifa la Kenya, basi mnazi ungekuwa ni nguvu moja, kwa sababu mbali na kuwa sasa hivi ni mmea ambao unamea katika sehemu ambayo tumekuwa na umaskini muda mrefu, pengine kwa sababu nyingi mbalimbali za uongozi, pengine sababu za kusauliwa, sababu za ukame, lakini hivi vyote vinachangia kuwa mnazi ule unapandwa na mazao yake kuchangia katika uchumi unakuwa wa chini. Sasa hivi katika hali ile mnazi unachangia karibu bilioni 3.2, lakini ukipatiwa nguvu ya kiteknolojia, ukipatiwa nguvu ya utafiti, basi unaweza kutoa zaidi ya bilioni 13. Na ikiwa pwani peke yake itaweza kuchangia katika swala kama hilo, kuwa uchumi unachangiwa kwa mwaka bilioni 13, basi hiyo ni moja katika sehemu ambayo haswa serikali inapaswa kuwezeka. Mheshimiwa Spika, mnazi sisi kila siku kama jamii, kama Wakenya, tunapigania na janga la kuwa hakuna makazi. na moja katika shughuli ambazo ukitembea sehemu za pwani utakuta vijana wetu na kina mama wetu wamejishughulisha na kazi hiyo, wakiuza madafu, wakiuza nazi. Kwa hivyo ile pia inapeana ajira, na hii ni ajira ambayo iko lakini haijategwa na serikali. Je, iwapo serikali itaingililia itege, ni kumaanisha tutaweza kupata ajira za viwanda, watoto wetu wataweza kufanya kwenye viwanda ya kuweza kutoa mafuta kama vile dada Mbeyo alivyosema. Pengine sasa hivi Tanzania wanachukua nazi yetu na kuweza kutega lile tui, lakini likafanywa dry, likafanywa kavu na likauzwa, latengenezwa alafu lauzwa Kenya. Lakini iwapo serikali ya Kenya itaekeza kuhakikisha safari hii tumepata kiwanda cha kutega mti wa mnazi, basi na hakika paka wakulima watakuwa na motisha kuweza kupanda zaidi. Mheshimiwa Spika, katika serikali, agenda moja ya serikali ni kuhakikisha watu wake wamepata kazi. Na mnazi ni njia moja ambayo tutaweza kupata kazi kwa njia mbalimbali. Madam Speaker, kijiti kinachotumiwa kutolea nyama kwenye meno yatoka kwenye mnazi. Kapeti hii ambayo tumesimamia, tumekanyagia, yatoka kwenye mnazi. Makuti yale ambayo ukitembea katika mandhara ama hoteli nzuri nzuri yatoka kwenye mnazi. Chakula tunachopikiwa, mkija mkitembea pwani, mkipikiwa chakula, samaki wa mipako, mkipikiwa wali wa nazi, unavushuka ukiburudika, yatoka kwenye mnazi. Mmea ule mti wake unatumika kama mbao. Kwa hivyo Madam Speaker, ziko faida zaidi ya faida 40 katika mnazi huu, na mimi ningependa serikali iwe ni mojawapo katika kuipatia nguvu kuweza kuhakikisha kuwa mnazi umepatiwa nguvu katika pwani. Madam Speaker, swala la hili la kazi, Madam Speaker, ningependa kujuza kuwa sisi katika shughuli zetu zote tunakwenda mbio kuhakikisha tumepata viwanda katika sehemu zetu. Lakini unakuta sasa Kwale tumepatikana, tuko na kiwanda ambacho ni cha sukari, lakini kiwanda hichi Madam Speaker kimefungwa kuweza kufanya kazi kwa sababu ya yale matatizo yaliyotoka juzi. Tuliingililia kama wabunge, tukafanya utafiti na ripoti ikaja. Ni mwezi wa pili Kwale Sugar Company imefungwa na watu wetu wanapata tabu. Kile kiwanda kimeandika watu zaidi ya 3,000, na sasa hivi Madam Speaker nikikueleza, ikifika wiki ijayo nafikiri watafunga kwa sababu mbali na kuwa wanadaiwa pia watu wetu.
Mheshimiwa Oku Kaunya, samahani ulipotea kwa mtandao kimakosa.
Asante Madam Speaker kwa kunipa nafasi. Nataka pia kuchangia katika hoja hii kwa kusema kuwa ni muhimu kufidia hawa wakulima Kilifi. Kilifi kwenyewe ni mahali nimewahi kufanya kazi, na mimea 2 ambayo inawaletea wakulima pesa ni mmea ya korosho na hii mmea ya mnazi. Korosho kama vile tulizungumzia hapo awali, factory mahali ambayo ilikuwa inatengeneza na kuwapatia wakulima faida ilikuja ikafungwa, na ilifungwa wakati ambapo nilienda huko kufanya kazi kama mfanyakazi wa serikali mwaka 2001. Wakulima wengi walipoteza na nafasi za kazi pia vijana walipoteza sana. Na tukiangazia hii ya pili ambayo ni mnazi, kama wasemaji wengi wamesema, ni mojawapo ambao tegemeo kubwa sana ya wakulima kule pwani. Na naunga kwa sababu hii inawaletea wakulima sio tu faida, lakini pia hali yao ya kimaisha inategemea hiyo. Kama vile Madam Speaker ulivyosema, kule kwingine kama Northeastern tegemeo ni ng'ombe. Ng'ombe inaleta chakula, inaleta malazi, inaleta maziwa, kila kitu. Inaleta hata pesa ya kuwezesha wakulima wakaaji huko kuwalipia watoto school fees. Kule pia pwani, hasa Kilifi, mahali ambayo nilifanya, wanategemea hii kwa kuwaletea maziwa. Kuna maziwa ambayo inatokana na mnazi. Kuna pia ujenzi ya manyumba ambayo ya kuishi inatokana na hiyo, kuweka paa, na kuna matumizi mengi ambayo inaambatana na hiyo. Kwa hivyo mbali na kuwapatia faida ya kifedha, mnazi pia inasaidia katika maisha yao ya kawaida, kuwawezesha kuishi maisha ya kawaida. Kwa hivyo tukiwa na shida kama hii ambayo imetokana na ukosefu ya mvua, ni muhimu serikali iweze kuwafidia wakulima na pia iweze kuwapatia ili hii mmea iweze kukua. Na wakati huu nachukua fursa hii pia kuunga, kwa sababu pia kuna umuhimu ya kuanzisha kiwanda ambayo inaweza kusaidia wakulima kuongeza ile faida wanapata kulingana na hii ukulima. Kwa sababu mara nyingi tukifanya mambo ya wakulima wengi wanapata ile faida ya chini sana wakiuza, ikiwa haijapitia kwa viwanda. Kwa hivyo, Madam Speaker, mimi nikisimama naunga kwa dhati hoja hii, na naunga serikali iweze kufidia hawa wakulima wa Kilifi ili waweze kurudia hali yao ya kawaida. Asante Madam Speaker kwa kunipa nafasi.
Tumpe nafasi Mheshimiwa Umbaka. Siaya.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for this opportunity. I'd like to support this bill because coconut, as we all aware, has many byproducts, and we use them at home, and we also see that some of the products are used for construction and roofing, especially roofing material. And we see coastal hotels that are roofed by makuti. The plant is normally very, very attractive and cool and very, very environmentally friendly. The food made out of coconut oil and milk is always highly appreciated, and we love it. There's so much that coconut does to us in terms of food and medicine. We need to promote the plant, and it's unfortunate that over the years, not much has been done towards coconut plant. Not much funds have been given out to produce more coconut plants, or give farmers enough resources to plant and expand the industry. Just like other areas, we find that in the coast, coconut is the main economic mainstay, and in Central Province we have coffee, we have miraa, fish and maize, and you can see that every part of this country there is something that the Ministry of Agriculture should put resources to develop. But the coast, particularly coconut, not much has been heard of. We just see it, we just use it, but we don't think of how to develop or expand that industry. And that's why I support this, because the use of coconut cannot be overemphasized. It is really, really important, and the Ministry of Agriculture should begin to invest in that industry. As it has already been illustrated, there's a lot of disasters, and there's a lot of poverty also around the coast, and if this is developed, then you can uplift the poverty, we can eradicate it. Many families will see the poverty level. And this is one area where we can eradicate poverty. It is important that we support this bill, purposely because we see the benefits of coconuts, which we have hardly thought of, which there's so much to learn from, and that the entire country depends on the coast to produce coconut. For these reasons, I support the bill and acknowledge the fact that this is a wonderful product that all of us in this House should support. Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Mheshimiwa Kingi.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I rise in support of this motion, which will make sure that the government provide financial support for the relief to the coast farmers affected by drought in Kilifi County. I feel so great today because for the second time, the voice of the farmers of Kilifi is being heard in this House. I remember 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago, we had a motion touching on cashew nuts, and unanimously, this House approved it. Apart from the many benefits that other honorable members have talked about, that is being brought up by the coconut tree, we should also remember the 4 big agendas that our president unveiled. One of them being manufacturing. And Madam Speaker, coconut tree is easy to grow compared to the other cash crops in this republic. You don't need much fertilizer to grow coconut tree. The care given to this kind of cash crop is lesser compared to the other cash crops like tea, coffee, or the other. This means that we need a very small boost as Kilifi people, as coast people, to make sure that these once thriving cash crops revamps again. So, Madam Speaker, according to reports, coconut oil, which is a byproduct of coconut tree, is one of the 9 international traded vegetable oils and ranks 8th in the global production. A third of the world population depends on coconut for nutrition or trade. This means that once this kind of crops is given special attention, the required attention, it means that it will create wealth, not for the people of Kilifi alone, but for the people of this republic. It will create job opportunities. Once an industry is set up, whether in Kilifi or Kwale or anywhere along the coast, many youth, many people of this republic will be employed in these industries, and jobs will be created. And I think it's high time the department concerned, the ministry concerned, should give priority and make sure that once this motion is passed, once this House resolved, that compensation or finances should be set aside for the growth of this tree, then that department or that ministry should move with speed to make sure that the dream of the people of Kilifi, the dream of the people of Coast, the dream of the people of Kenya is realized through making sure, or by making sure that the coconut farmers of Kilifi, of Coast, of Kenya are given the necessary support. For those few remarks, Madam Speaker, I support. Thank you.
Member for Wajir East, Honorable Lamin.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me an opportunity to support this motion. The coconut plant and the tree of the coconut has a multiple use. It's a versatile product. It's a tree that has numerous usage for the individuals who are farming along the coastal region. One thing we have realized over the years that this product, that it has given a product for hair. You can use oil, you can get food, you can be able to get it from thatches for building, construction, for even firewood. This has a multiple use. Because of its multiple use, it has become an efficient tree which can be utilized by the people of the coastal region when I speak of. This tree has a remarkable, because of the remarkable, it has not been utilized and exploited over the years. Economically, we have realized that the coconut tree has about 150,000 farmers that are likely to bring and get livelihood from this tree. 150,000. In terms of the economic output of this, 3.2 billion shillings can be realized of economic use. It can be able to contribute to the GDP of this country. But it has not been exploited to realize its full potential. The full potential has been said it can be able to get about 13 billion shillings, which is numerous and a lot of money for this country and for those farmers. Because of its use, that they are able to pay, the people of the coastal region are able to pay their school fees for their children. They're able to pay for their livelihood, for their food, and it's a subsistent crop, which needs to be supported. But one thing that has come over the years, it has not been given its emphasis as required like any other cash crop, like the cash crop of tea, coffee, and others has been given their position as a cash crop. But the coconut has not been given the same. And we will urge this government to apportion funding, specific funding, to uplift the people of the coastal region so that they can be able to cultivate this crop which requires minimal attention. It requires minimal attention, despite its multiple use. It has multiple use, but it requires minimal attention. And it's for that matter that we encourage this government of Kenya to put its foot down and be able to alleviate the predicament of the people of the coastal region, particularly the people of Kilifi. I happened to work with the National Drought Management Authority as a director during the last phase. And within that period, Kilifi, 2016-2017, was earmarked as the worst hit in terms of drought. In terms of drought, it was the worst hit. And the crop that was affected most was the coconut tree. The way it has been supported by the government of Kenya in terms of supporting other sectors, the coconut farmers did not get the similar attention that is required. And I'm glad today Honorable Bayer has been able to bring the limelight, to bring into the limelight this crop which has economic use to his people. And I'm glad that he has realized it is significant and its economic importance to his people. And here I that need to be insured, like the cows or the cattle in my region. It's some support that need to be given other than the insurance. So I support this motion, and I support Honorable Bayer for bringing this important product for his people. Thank you.
Mheshimiwa Ramadhani Dori.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika. Vile vile mimi nachukua fursa kuunga mswada huu ambao umeletwa na Mheshimiwa Baya juu ya fidia ya wakuzaji wa mnazi. Lakini vile vile, Mheshimiwa Spika, hili swala tunataka tulifanyie marekebisho kiasi cha kwamba fidia hii isilekee katika sehemu ambayo imelengwa na aliyeleta mswada ambao ni sehemu ya Kilifi, lakini ilengwe kwa wakuzaji ama wakulima wa mnazi wote kwa jumla katika nchi ya Kenya, sana pwani. Mheshimiwa Spika, huu ni mswada ambao ni mzuri sana, ambao tunahitaji msukumo mkubwa kwa Wizara ya Kilimo. Tukiwa tunalekeza mwelekeo wetu kulipa fidia kwa wakulima wa mnazi, Mheshimiwa Spika, ni lazima ifahamike ya kwamba suala la mnazi, wakuzaji zaidi ambao wanakuza mnazi wanatokea katika sehemu ya Kwale, katika eneo bunge la Msambweni. Shamba ambalo linaitwa Msambweni Development lina ekari 3,800 ambalo lote kwa jumla limepanda mnazi. Vile vile, Mheshimiwa Spika, nataka kukujuza ya kwamba sio kwamba hatuna viwanda vya mnazi, lakini vile vile katika sehemu ya Msambweni kiko kiwanda cha mnazi ambacho kinalinda haki za mnazi ambao ni Kwale Coconut Farm. Kiwanda hichi kinalinda haki za wakulima katika kuuza mapato yao na mazao yao. Kitu muhimu, Mheshimiwa Spika, katika Jamhuri ya Kenya, viwanda ambavyo vilikuwa vinanunua mali ya mnazi ilikuwa ni viwanda viwili. Kimoja kilikuwa katika mji wa Mombasa ukiitwa Mombasa Coast Coconut Plant Farm, ambayo kiwanda kile kimekufa. Sasa kimebakia kiwanda kimoja katika Kwale. Ni jukumu letu, ikiwa tumelenga katika fidia, tuangalie pia taratibu ambazo tutamlinda mkuzaji mnazi ama mkulima wa mnazi kupitia Wizara ya Kilimo, ili aweze kuendeleza zao lake na apate faida zile ambazo zinatambulikana zimepitia na ukuzaji ama ukulima ule wa mnazi. Mheshimiwa Spika, suala la mnazi ni suala ambalo ni lazima lipatiwe kipawa. Ni kama vile ambavyo wiki zilizokwisha Mheshimiwa Owen alituletea mswada ambao ni wa korosho, na mimea hii miwili ni mimea ambayo katika jimbo letu ya Pwani sana ni mimea ambayo inakuzwa na ni mimea ambayo haina harama, kwa sababu mmea wa mnazi ukishapanda hauhitaji ufuatiliaji wingi katika kuulinda mmea ule. Kwa hivyo ni mmea ambao unakuwa na kuangaliaji wake ni wa hali ya chini. Vile vile, Mheshimiwa Spika, tungeomba na tungeimbia Wizara ya Kilimo iweke mfuko fulani ambao kila mwaka itakuwa inaangalia wale wakuzaji wote wa mnazi, kuwe kuna sehemu fulani ambao wanapawa msukumo. Kama sasa tunajua iko mbegu mpya ambayo imekuja katika wizara ile, kwa lugha ya Kimombo wanaita dwarf coconut. Ile mnazi ule kwa mwaka unatoa mazao mara 3 ambao ni faida mkubwa kwa mkulima. Kwa hiyo Mheshimiwa Spika, mimi nataka niseme ninaunga mswada huu, lakini uwe umelenga wakuzaji wa mnazi wa jimbo lote la Pwani na Kenya yote kwa jumla. Asante sana.
So Mheshimiwa Dori, labda ingekuwa vema kama unge suggest amendment kwa mswada, lakini bado kuna nafasi kwa yeyote yule angetaka kubadili iwe inaangazia sehemu yote ya Pwani na sio Kilifi peke yake. Tuende kwa Mheshimiwa mbunge wa Kilifi Kusini, Mheshimiwa Kiti Chonga.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for according me this opportunity. And I'll painfully use English as much as I'm born and brought up in Kilifi, with very, very clear reasons. I come from Kilifi South, and first of all, I want to congratulate my brother Owen Baya for bringing up this motion. The effects of the drought within Kilifi County or coast in general regarding the coconut tree are not issues that are only known to the people of Kilifi or people of coast, but I know very well these are issues which are known throughout within the ranks of the national government. Madam Speaker, the effects of this drought were not only witnessed in 2016-2017, but as you and me know very well, with the changing weather patterns, drought has then been there even before also, sometimes in 2004. I remember sometime in 1983, we still had a similar problem. And to my surprise, when I look at similar areas which have been beaten by effects of drought, when we had pyrethrum affected, the government came in handy and bailed out the farmers. Just some few years, pastoralists were equally affected. Quite a number of cows died. The government had to come in with mitigation measures where cows were bought from the sites. Kenya Meat Commission also came up strongly to assist the farmers. But to my surprise, the coconut farmer has never featured anywhere regarding to the effects of drought.
Sorry, Honorable Kitty. Honorable Waluke, are you on a point of order? What is out of order?
Maybe I didn't hear properly, Madam Speaker. And I want the member to make it clear to me. He said that he comes from Guinea-Bissau.
Guinea-Bissau?
Yeah? So I don't know whether he has a troll passport or so I want the member to make it clear, to clarify to the country where he comes from, and he's a member of parliament in this house, Madam Speaker.
He could not have qualified to be elected as a member of parliament, but let him clarify.
Let me clarify that I may be a member of parliament for Kilifi South, but maybe I've been growing up somewhere else. What I was saying is I've been born.
Honorable Kitty, are you saying you may be? You are a member of Kilifi South?
No, maybe, Madam Speaker, you need to listen to me carefully and get what I'm saying.
Come out clear.
The possibility is that you could be like, let's say Nairobi now. It has quite a number of constituencies. One may be born and brought up in Kisumu, or one may be coming from Kisumu. Madam Speaker, you have eaten on my time. I hope you will add me some more minutes.
Yeah, but Honorable Kitty.
What I meant is, I am born and brought up at that place. In Kilifi.
Kilifi South.
Yes, Kilifi South, which is within Kilifi.
Not Guinea-Bissau. Okay, I think you misheard the member. Member for Sirisia. Honorable Kitty.
Yes.
Guinea-Bissau is another country.
No, Kilifi South is within Kilifi County.
Okay, fine. Member for Sirisia, I think it's clear now.
No, if I think maybe the honorable member has a problem with his ears, but we have some insurance cover.
No, I think it was, somebody seeking a clarification is okay. So there's nothing wrong with it. I'll give you 1 more minute to conclude your contribution.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Now, my point is, Kilifi County is among the counties that I'm seeing the government has deliberately enclaved. Because the coconut tree is one tree that everyone knows that whoever comes from that place is what is relying on. But droughts have been coming up and going, and no one has been giving an considering the effects that have been going on. My prayer is that apart from the compensation that this motion is seeking, I equally request that the government comes up with structures that will enable that tree to survive, not only in terms of production, but the benefits of this tree could actually be realized for the benefit of the person of Kilifi or the person of Coast Province.
Honorable Lodepe Nakara.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, first of all, I want to congratulate Mheshimiwa Owen Mbaya for bringing this motion on behalf of the people of Kilifi. Madam Speaker, as you said earlier, that every community has a resource, and this resource must be used for the benefit of the locals from that community. And the government must invest in that resource so that the locals can benefit from it. Madam Speaker, I have gone through research on coconut, and I realized that this fruit is a very important fruit in this country. If at all we are going to put some additional value to this product, it will actually benefit people of our coast and Kenya as well. Madam Speaker, the scientists have said that the coconut oil increases fat burning. That means when you use coconut oil, it reduces fat from the body, and you become slim and you become good. The scientists have said also that coconut oil reduces anger, and it makes you to eat less. That's a very good product, Madam Speaker. And also it says that coconut oil has fat acid, which has some medical properties, which means this oil, Madam Speaker, can treat some diseases inside your body. Madam Speaker, the idea I want to bring is, can we add additional value to this product so that beside getting little money from selling it directly, it can be used to generate more income to the locals, the community. Madam Speaker, there's a Kilifi County Bill 2014 concerning the coconut. I would like to ask the people from Kilifi if they can go and put that bill into practice. Because, Madam Speaker, it has spelled out how this product can be used to benefit the people of Kilifi County. And, Madam Speaker, this county also can build a manufacturing factory in Kaloleni. Madam Speaker, during the campaign, one of the candidates by the name Garo said that if he will be elected, he will build a coconut factory in Kaloleni. And we want the governor, who is now sitting, Honorable Kingi, if he's going to do that, because, Madam Speaker, calling the government from outside, and we have one government which can do something for the locals, to start from building a factory within Kaloleni, it can help, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, they can also request private developers to come in, because, Madam Speaker, the government is very stretched. It cannot help everybody. So as long as they have this product, Madam Speaker, they can welcome private developers or investors to come to Kilifi so that this product, Madam Speaker, can give employment to the youth, can change the lifestyle of the communities there, and by doing so, Madam Speaker, even the country, Kenya, can benefit from this product. With those few remarks, Madam Speaker, I support it. Thank you.
Honorable Mwadime Andrew.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, on the onset, I rise to support this bill. Mheshimiwa Speaker, even the Englishmen normally say, speak only when you feel that your words are better than your silence. this goes well with the Owen buyer, because if at all he had kept his quiet silence, we could not have such deliberation which is going on in this parliament. Madam Speaker, coconut tree, it is the only tree which has good input to the human being straight from the tip of the top of the tree right to the roots down there, ranging from leaves, building good houses, down to the roots, has important to human being. Agriculturist researchers, it's high time they do research on all cash crops in the country, because we have had tea being compensated, coffee being compensated, all other crops. But it's interesting, a tea which has more over 100 types, ranging from food, brooms and many others, it's never been, given anything. It's a high time our researchers in agriculture, they distribute equally all the resources to all parts of the country. This actually coconut tree, if it's well done, it can create over 500 jobs, 500,000 jobs, even more than, I think, over even 1 million. Because custodians, you have heard even our young men, they're on papers, always on drugs, simply because of work. But if such plants are well taken care, and the people are given, they're encouraged and assisted by the government, it can create very many jobs, especially the 4 agendas of the government. If they concentrate with such kind of plants, plus the other one which was on the other day, cashew nut, it can actually create very many jobs. Madam Speaker, it's high time these insurance schemes, just the way we have them in coffee and even cattle, they should also be spread to cashew nuts, coconut trees, and they should not segregate, or they just give only to some parts of the country. Even we taters, we have ranches. Our farmers, our people who have livestock ranches, they're never even given any assistance from the government on when it's dry time. So, Madam Speaker, it's important to the government, if possible, to start such a industry in Kilifi, Lamu, because if this plant actually is well researched, I think it can even give more than the 13 billion, which the originator of the bill is saying. Because all over the entire coast region, this tree is all over. Otherwise, thank you, Madam Speaker. I support.
I'll give one member from this other side. It's been one side speaking for a while. Honorable Serem.
Thanks, Madam Speaker, for this opportunity to contribute to this motion by Honorable Bayer. Madam Speaker, I want to congratulate members of Parliament from Coast, and also reminding them that they should not whine about why other areas are getting subsidies from government if you don't bring your own motion. I'm sure that if there are areas that they are benefiting from government, it's because they are members of Parliament who are active on the same. Madam Speaker, I rise not because I come from Coast, because I recognize that coconut products are very important for this country. the children and the families that are live in Kilifi are part of the big family called Kenya. And if we address the issue that touches on the farmers in coast, it touches the farmers all over in this country. Madam Speaker, apart from measures that are addressed by the honorable member on this motion, I want to maybe bring up amendments in future so that the issue of value addition is also attached on the same, so that the farmers in coast don't only sell the raw products, but also sell products that are actually can be exported out of the country. A few months ago, I was in Kilifi. I was impressed by value addition, which is done on the coconut products at KIE structure in Kilifi. And I wish more can be done in Malindi and other areas that grow the same. Madam Speaker, we can discuss more that can we see on the naked eye, but there are things that unforeseeable, like drought. What is it that we can do to address the issue that, of natural calamities? Maybe irrigation could be a factor that maybe farmers in coast should look into. We can have our own auction and discuss that we have no water. Something of that nature can be looked into, that we can pump water and have irrigation to address issue of drought in coast. Madam Speaker, as a country, we have a large group of young men and women with no jobs. And if we utilize this sector, our young men and women could be actually having an employment to support their families. As a country, we cannot every single day discuss that this country rely on farming, and we are doing less to assist farmers. If we look at the budget, for the last 3 years running, agriculture received the minimal on the key sectors that requires funding in the ratio of what in the ratio of the output, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I want to encourage our colleagues to support this motion so that the farmers, in an event that there is drought, they should be compensated. It can't be one region. It can't be only coffee farmers. It can't be only in other areas that get compensation. And when we discuss about cost, people just think about tourists. Not everybody is in this tourism sector. The farmers should be assisted. And I can say the farmers must be assisted, Madam Speaker. And I want all members to support this motion so that the farmers can see the importance of engaging themselves in this activity, which is important for all of us, not only the farmers in coast, but all the stakeholders, all the consumers, of which I'm one of them, Madam Speaker. And I'm not saying that because I'm one of them, I should be given any favor. I feel that the farmers in coast should be given an opportunity. They have been marginalized for many years, Madam Speaker. When we talk about coast, it's always stories about tourism. There should be also a good story about farming in coast. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Very well. Let's have the Honorable Tayari Stephen, member for Kinango, to prosecute a proposed amendment. And you have, be very brief, because we are running out of time.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this time. And I also want to thank Honorable Baya for bringing this motion to this House. I rise to bring amendments in the motion, and I'll be very, very brief because of time, that the motion be amended as follows. A, by inserting the words the coast region, particularly after the words coconut farmers in the 5th line. and B, by deleting the words Kilifi County in the 14th line and substituting thereof with the words counties in the coast region. With this amendment, I would like to ask Honorable Mwashako to second me. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Asante, Madam Speaker. Na simama kuunga mkono mapendekezo ya kufanyia marekebisho ama mageuzi mswada ambao umeletwa na Mheshimiwa Owen, mswada mzuri ambao sisi kama viongozi wa mkoa wa Pwani tunaamini ya kwamba si Kilifi peke yake ambapo mnazi unakuzwa, mnazi na unakuzwa kwa Pwani nzima. Na pili pia wakati wa kiangazi mwaka jana na mwaka juzi uliadhiri eneo nzima la Pwani. Kwa hivyo, Madam Speaker, naunga mkono marekebisho hayo na kusema kwamba mswada huu umekuja katika wakati mzuri. Nchi yetu ya Kenya tunajua mahali kwingi tuna mimea ambayo inajulikana kama mimea yale ambayo yanatajika, kwa kizungu wanaita cash crop. Kule Pwani tuko na mimea michache sana ambapo hatujajulikana sana mambo ya ukulima, lakini minazi, mikorosho na mambo kama hayo ambayo yanapatikana kule Pwani, tunatamani serikali ikatilie mkazo kwamba hata tunapoongea katika zile agenda 4 za Mheshimiwa Uhuru Kenyatta, kilimo kiko ndani, na tunasema kwamba Pwani tukahesabike kuwa wamoja wa wale ambao tunaweza changia katika kukua kwa uchumi wa Kenya. Na najua Mheshimiwa Owen alitaja kwamba mnazi unazaleta hata mapato zaidi ya bilioni 13. Mimi ninavyojua tunaweza pandisha hayo yakafika hata bilioni 25 kukuza uchumi huu.
Order. You are restricted to only speak on the amendment. And I think you already did it. I think you're just trying to sneak in your contribution. So allow me to stop you there. And honorable members, I'll go on to propose the question on the amendment, which is that the motion be amended as follows. A, by inserting the words, the coast region, particularly in, after the words coconut farmers in the 5th line. And B, by deleting the words quote unquote Kilifi County in the 14th line and substituting thereof the words quote unquote counties in the coast region. So I hope we are not going to take too much time on this. We are actually out of time, but just a moment. I'll give one member to speak to the amendment, and then and let me give Honorable Bayer. And again, honorable members, you should note that since it's an amendment, even if you had spoken earlier to the substantive motion, you have time to speak to the amendment. But very briefly, Honorable Bayer, to see if we have your buy-in.
Yes, Madam Speaker, thank you very much. And I want to thank the Honorable Tayari for introducing the amendment. I think the drought affected all the counties of coast, and that all the counties of coast stand to benefit if this amendment is introduced. And therefore, Madam Speaker, I support the amendment. Thank you very much.
Okay, honorable members, we are out of time for this sitting. And just to point out that we have a balance of time of 23 minutes when we come back to motions. So members who have not contributed will still have some opportunity, but we will pick up on the amendment. And then we shall be able to conclude. Honorable members, be on your feet. Honorable members, the time being 1 p.m., this House stands adjourned until today, Wednesday, 15th August 2018 at 2:30 p.m.